Chapter 749. Lu Yuan couldn't help but have a strange feeling in his heart when he felt the soft and fragrant jade in his arms, and both of them were wearing so little. However, he immediately suppressed this emotion. His body shone with a golden light and the golden dragon armor appeared, wrapping Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow's bodies in it. This time, the two of them were even closer to each other. Chihiro Snow's jade-like flawless face was extremely close to him. Her fragrance penetrated the tip of his nose, causing Lu Yuan's thoughts to fluctuate. If it wasn't for the assessment, he really wanted to find a place to do Chihiro Snow on the spot. This girl's charm was too great, making his heart itch. Circulating the clear chi scripture, Lu Yuan suppressed the thoughts in his heart. Under Chihiro Snow's amused gaze, Lu Yuan took a light step and directly ran towards the 9th step of the celestial stairway. Be prepared. The temperature of the 9th step may exceed your imagination. If you can't bear it, just say it and I'll bring you down immediately. Don't try to be brave and hurt yourself, understand? Floating in front of the 9th step of the celestial stairway, Lu Yuan looked into Chihiro Snow's eyes and said with a serious expression, "Yes, I know." Chihiro Snow nodded and smiled softly. "Then we'll go in." Seeing this, Lu Yuan said softly and then directly stepped onto the 9th step of the celestial stairway. The pressure and temperature of the 9th step of the celestial stairway were much higher than the 8th step. Lu Yuan was naturally used to it. Even if he didn't wear the golden dragon armor, he could still come and go freely. However, it was Chihiro Snow's first time here. In order to take care of her, Lu Yuan moved forward very slowly. As he walked, he paid attention to Chihiro Snow's expression. As soon as she set foot on the 9th floor, Chihiro Snow's relaxed brows slowly furrowed. The sudden increase in pressure and temperature made her feel a little uncomfortable. If she had come up here alone, she would have had a hard time holding on, but with the protection of the golden dragon battle armor, it wasn't a big problem. As Lu Yuan grew stronger, the golden dragon armor continued to evolve. Right now, the quality of the golden dragon armor was definitely not inferior to ordinary 100,000-year soul bones. Even Lu Yuan's Titan giant ape left arm bone might not be able to defeat it, and it might even be slightly inferior. Therefore, the golden dragon battle armor actually helped Chihiro Snow withstand a lot of pressure and heat. Looks like it's just the temperature and pressure. Under the protection of my golden dragon battle armor, it won't be difficult for to endure for 12 hours. The key is the holy flame that can come at any time. This is the biggest test for Lu Yuan thought to himself as he looked at Chihiro Snow's calm expression. It's time for the heavyweight test. The temperature of the holy flame is extremely terrifying. Be careful. If you can't take it, make a sound immediately. As he thought about it, Lu Yuan continued to remind her worriedly. Okay. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow nodded vigorously. Swoosh. A huge ball of golden flames came and engulfed the two of them. Suddenly, a terrifying temperature was released. Lu Yuan's golden dragon battle armor shone brightly and blocked the attack of the holy flame. Even so, there was still a terrifying temperature that was transmitted from the golden dragon battle armor. Suddenly, Chihiro Snow's jade-like face turned pale. Beads of sweat appeared on her forehead, but they were evaporated by the extremely high temperature. She bit her red lips with her silver teeth, and a look of pain appeared on her face. Bear with it, This is how painful the holy flame tempering body is. You have to endure for 12 hours. This kind of pain is definitely unavoidable. Don't worry, I will keep an eye on your situation. If there's anything wrong, I will release the divine power of clear chi to heal your injuries. Seeing the pain on Chihiro Snow's face, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel his heart ache. However, Chihiro Snow had to endure this kind of pain. She could only retreat when she really couldn't take it anymore. Otherwise, if she gave up at the slightest bit of pain, she would never be able to complete this test. Therefore, even though his heart ached, he still advised Chihiro Snow to endure for a while longer. This was because he could clearly see that Chihiro Snow had not reached her limit. He told Chihiro Snow to only make a sound when she really couldn't take it anymore. He didn't want her to retreat right from the start. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow nodded with difficulty. It was obvious that under the high temperature of the holy flame, the pain she was enduring was really intense. 1 minute. 3 minutes. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. Chihiro Snow's face was as pale as a sheet of paper. She clenched her silver teeth, and her entire body was trembling in pain. It was obvious that she was really reaching her limit. However, this girl obviously didn't listen to Lu Yuan's words. With her stubborn personality, she was still holding on. Cher can't take it anymore. Let's stop here for the first attempt. Seeing Chihiro Snow in such a state, Lu Yuan's eyes flashed with a tinge of pity. He circulated the divine power of clear qi and was about to inject it into Chihiro Snow's body. However, at this moment, something strange happened. Lu Yuan couldn't help but stop what he was doing. A brilliant icy blue radiance exploded from Chihiro Snow's body. At the same time, an extremely intense chill was emitted from Chihiro Snow's body, extinguishing the surrounding golden flames. The chill permeated the air and actually formed an icy blue domain with a radius of 3 meters on the 9th step. It completely enveloped Lu Yuan and her body. What a dense and pure chill. Where did Cher's body get such pure chill? Feeling the chill from Chihiro Snow's body, Lu Yuan's heart couldn't help but tremble violently. This chill was too pure, and its temperature was extremely low. Even Lu Yuan's body, which was impervious to fire and water, felt a little cold. In terms of quality, the purity of this chill wasn't inferior to the holy flame on the 9th step. The temperature was so low that it was probably slightly better than ordinary ultimate ice. Furthermore, the cold yin qi seemed to be endless as it continued to surge out, maintaining the 3-meter radius of the domain and firmly blocking the holy flames of the 9th step of the celestial stairway outside the domain. Without the burning of the holy flame, Chihiro Snow quickly recovered. After all, she had learned the esoteric word, and her recovery was much stronger than ordinary people. When she recovered and looked at the icy blue domain around her, she couldn't help but reveal a look of surprise on her face. Cher, where did you get such pure chill from? Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask as he looked at Chihiro Snow. I don't know either. Faced with Lu Yuan's question, Chihiro Snow's face was a little lost. She still didn't know the source of this chill. Chapter 750. You don't know either? Upon hearing Chihiro Snow's words, Lu Yuan couldn't help but frown. Chihiro Snow wasn't lying. He could see this clearly. He had known, and fallen in love with Chihiro Snow since he was young. He could tell at a glance whether Chihiro Snow was lying to him or not. Chihiro Snow really didn't know the source of the cold yin qi in her body. However, this was the strange thing. If Chihiro Snow didn't know, then where did this cold yin qi come from? Chihiro Snow's martial soul was an 8-winged angel. If she had a strong light and extreme flame power, then Lu Yuan could understand. However, it was too strange for this cold yin qi to appear in the body of an angel martial soul. Obuchi, do you think this cold yin qi was passed to me by Bibidan? After all, both of her martial souls are of the dark attribute. Seeing Lu Yuan frown, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but ask softly. Impossible. Teacher's 2 martial souls are the Death Spider Emperor and the Soul-Devouring Pearl Emperor. You can say that they are of the dark attribute, but neither of them has this biting cold yin qi. Furthermore, these 2 martial souls are of the evil attribute. One can devour flesh and blood vitality, while the other can devour souls. It's very terrifying. However, the cold yin qi in your body is extremely pure and full of grandeur. It doesn't match with teacher's 2 martial souls at all. It can't be passed to you by teacher. It's impossible. Upon hearing Chihiro Snow's words, Lu Yuan immediately shook his head. His tone was very firm. Then where did the cold yin qi in my body come from? Chihiro Snow asked. This is also what I'm puzzled about. Logically speaking, it's impossible for your body to have this kind of cold yin qi. Lu Yuan said softly. Scratching his head, Lu Yuan still couldn't figure out anything. The cold yin qi in Chihiro Snow's body seemed to have fallen from the sky. It was completely confusing. System, do you know the source of the cold yin qi in Cher's body? In a situation where he really couldn't figure it out, Lu Yuan could only ask the system for help. Chihiro Snow was born with this. Originally, he was just trying his best and didn't hope that the system would pay attention to him. However, to Lu Yuan's surprise, the system's cold voice actually sounded. Was born with it? Hearing this, Lu Yuan's eyes shone brightly, as if he had heard something unbelievable. A somewhat absurd thought flashed through his mind. Like the angel martial soul, you were born with it? Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask. Yes. The system's voice sounded again. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but look at Chihiro Snow again. There was a strange look in his eyes, causing Chihiro Snow to frown. Then why did it only appear now? Lu Yuan continued to ask. Awakening requires an opportunity. Just like the host's bloodline was forced to awaken under great pressure, Chihiro Snow's cold yin qi also requires the stimulation of an opposite energy in order to awaken. After awakening, Chihiro Snow will have the opportunity to obtain a second martial soul. Second martial soul. Hearing this, Lu Yuan's face suddenly changed. He asked, System, what does this mean? Chihiro Snow's cold yin qi is equivalent to a martial soul void. It has the attribute of a martial soul, but it doesn't have a physical body. As long as a yin-type soul beast is willing to become her martial soul and sacrifice itself to her, she will be able to obtain a second martial soul. Furthermore, due to the purity of the cold yin qi, the strength of her second martial soul won't be inferior to her first martial soul. Furthermore, once Chihiro Snow obtains a second martial soul, her two martial souls will form a yin-yang complementary relationship. Her strength will increase rapidly, and the yin-yang immortal grass that the host once gave her will be completely absorbed. Her future will become limitless. The martial soul void has a yin-type attribute. Isn't this similar to the situation where the million-year Skydream Iceworm provided a martial soul void for Huoyu Hao? After hearing the system's words, Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask. Pretty much. However, Chihiro Snow's situation is much better than Huoyu Hao's. The Skydream Iceworm only provided an ice-type soul void. Huoyu Hao was able to obtain ultimate ice because his martial soul was the Ice Empress. If it were an ordinary soul beast, he wouldn't be able to obtain ultimate ice. However, Chihiro Snow is different. The quality of her cold yin qi is extremely high, and all she needs is a physical body. No matter what yin-type soul beast it is, as Chihiro Snow's second martial soul, Chihiro Snow will definitely have pure yin, ultimate ice, and ultimate cold. Of course, if the soul beast's quality is also very high, then it will naturally be better. After all, if the soul beast is stronger, then it will naturally be stronger. Hiss! After hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. Chihiro Snow's second martial soul was a little powerful. It wasn't inferior to her first martial soul at all. The eight-winged angel possessed the three elements of holy, ultimate light, and ultimate fire. Her second martial soul also possessed the three elements of pure yin, ultimate ice, and ultimate cold. No wonder the system said that once Chihiro Snow obtained her second martial soul, she would be able to quickly complete the yin-yang complement technique, and her strength would increase by leaps and bounds. Looks like I'll have to bring Shui to the extreme north when I have the chance. The soul beasts that are most suited for cold yin energy are undoubtedly in the extreme north, Lu Yuan muttered to himself. Oh right, system. Suddenly, Lu Yuan seemed to have thought of something. He asked, after talking so much, "You still haven't told me where Cher's cold inchi came from. Who passed it to her? Also, you haven't told me whether my theory is correct or not." The host will have to discover these for himself. "I can't tell you for now." The system's cold voice sounded. "Fuck, you really keep me in suspense when it comes to important matters." Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but curse in his heart. The system is still a scammer. It never tells me the important things. However, since the system didn't say anything, Lu Yuan couldn't do anything about it. Furthermore, he already had some faint suspicions about some things in his heart. Furthermore, the system's words had already revealed some information. Seeing that Lu Yuan was standing there in a daze, Chihiro Snow frowned and couldn't help but ask, "Obuchi, why are you in a daze? Also, why are you looking at me with such a weird gaze?" "Cher, I have good news for you. You'll be very happy when you hear it." After hearing Chihiro Snow's words, Lu Yuan immediately came back to his senses. There was a slight smile at the corner of his mouth as he spoke softly. "What good news?" Hearing this, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but ask curiously. Lu Yuan smiled faintly and repeated the system's words to Chihiro Snow. "What? Obuchi, you're saying that I have a chance to obtain a second martial soul?" After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow's face was immediately filled with joy. Chapter 751. This was a second martial soul. Once she possessed a second martial soul, she would have twin martial souls. Twin martial souls were extremely rare. Currently, there were only 2 people on the continent who possessed twin martial souls. To be more precise, there were only 3 people. Although Lu Yuan's polychoria was a martial soul, he couldn't add a soul ring to it. Thus, he could be considered a twin martial soul. Once she possessed twin martial souls, she would be the 4th person on the continent to possess twin martial souls. Furthermore, according to Lu Yuan, her second martial soul was extremely powerful. It wouldn't be inferior to her 8-winged angel. Furthermore, her 8-winged angel was second only to Lu Yuan's god-slaying spear in the continent. It was similar to the golden dragon. It could be said that once she possessed 2 martial souls of this level, she would be the most talented person on the continent aside from Lu Yuan. Even Bibidon couldn't compare to her. This was because Bibidon's 2 martial souls were only top-notch martial souls. However, she possessed 2 powerful martial souls that surpassed ordinary god-ranked martial souls. When she thought of this, Chihiro Snow's heart began to burn. "Obuchi, is what you said true?" Chihiro Snow's words carried a trace of urgency. She was suddenly told that she might possess 2 god-ranked martial souls that surpassed ordinary god-ranked martial souls. Even she couldn't suppress the joy in her heart. "Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you about something like this? However, it's not that simple to obtain a second martial soul. First, you have to find a Yin-type soul beast. Second, this soul beast must have a cultivation of 100,000 years. Lastly, this soul beast must be willing to become your martial soul and sacrifice itself for you. Only then can you truly possess a second martial soul." Lu Yuan spoke softly as he looked at Chihiro Snow. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but feel a little disheartened. It wasn't easy to find a 100,000-year Yin-type soul beast. Even if she did find one, it would be extremely difficult to get it to willingly become her martial soul and soul ring. In any case, she felt that there was very little hope for this matter to work. After all, she knew a little about the attitude of 100,000-year soul beasts towards humans. To this day, she only knew of 2 soul beast sacrifices. The first was when a 100,000-year blue-silver emperor had sacrificed itself to Tang Hao while being pursued by Chihiro disease. As a result, Tang Hao had become a titled Douluo, and he had crushed Chihiro disease, the chrysanthemum Douluo and the ghost Douluo. The second was the man in front of her. He had also been sacrificed by 100,000-year soul beast and obtained a 100,000-year soul ring, becoming the first soul king on the continent to possess a 100,000-year soul ring. Other than the two of them, she hadn't heard of any other soul beast sacrifices. When she thought about how she had to rely on a 100,000-year soul beast as a sacrifice to obtain her second soul ring, Chihiro Snow felt a little disappointed. This was really a little too difficult. Why? Have you lost confidence? Do you feel that there's little hope? After seeing Chihiro Snow's expression, how could Lu Yuan not know what she was thinking? He smiled and gently touched her nose. Yes, 100,000-year Een-type soul beast willingly sacrificing itself. No matter how I think about it, it's a little too far-fetched. Chihiro Snow grabbed Lu Yuan's hand and said softly, "It's not to the extent of far-fetched, but it is indeed a little difficult to accomplish. Leave it to me, I'll give you a satisfactory answer. If you rely on yourself, there's basically no hope. If you leave it to me, there's still some possibility." Lu Yuan said warmly. "Yes, your fifth soul ring was sacrificed by a soul beast. Obuchi, do you have some special channels, huh?" Chihiro Snow's golden eyes blinked, her expression carrying a trace of inquiry. "When it's time to tell you, I'll naturally tell you. Now isn't the time yet." Lu Yuan shook his head and said softly, "All right." Hearing this, Chihiro Snow could only obediently nod her head. Since Lu Yuan wasn't willing to say it now, there was no use in forcing him. If she forced him too much, he would be annoyed. With Chihiro Snow's intelligence, she naturally wouldn't do such a thing, although she was extremely curious about Lu Yuan's special channels. "All right, Cher, since your Een-type Qi has erupted and formed a domain, then take advantage of this opportunity to pass the 9th step of the celestial stairway in one fell swoop and end the second test," Lu Yuan said in a serious tone. "Yes." Hearing this, Chihiro Snow nodded vigorously. With the endless Een-type Qi in Chihiro Snow's body continuously erupting, staying on the 9th step of the celestial stairway for 12 hours seemed very simple. By midnight, Chihiro Snow had already completed the second test. However, she didn't get up. Instead, she looked at Lu Yuan with a gentle expression. Lu Yuan had to persist for 12 hours. It wasn't until the afternoon of the second day that Lu Yuan finally completed his second test. At the same time that he completed the second test, a voice sounded in Lu Yuan's mind. "You have completed the second test of the Holy Sword test. You have completed the test less than half a year in advance. Your rewards have been doubled. The age of all your soul rings has increased by 2,000 years, and your compatibility with the 8-winged angel has increased by 20%. Your current compatibility with your martial soul has reached 70%. The age of all my soul rings has increased by 2,000 years. Lu Yuan muttered to himself. His first soul ring was originally a 6,300-year soul ring, and his second soul ring was a 9,000-year soul ring. Now that they had been upgraded by 2,000 years, his first soul ring was 8,300-year soul ring, and his second soul ring was 11,000-year soul ring. In other words, his current soul ring combination was purple, black, red, and red. Furthermore, the compatibility with my martial soul has increased to 70%. This means that Cher and I already have a chance to use a martial soul fusion skill? Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but feel happy. He was really curious about the power of his and Chihiro Snow's martial soul fusion skill. Opening his eyes slightly, he saw Chihiro Snow's beautiful face. At this moment, she was tilting her head and looking at him without blinking. "Have you passed the test?" Chihiro Snow asked gently. "I have passed the test. The rewards have increased the age of all my soul rings by 2,000 years. At the same time, my compatibility with the 8-winged angel has increased by 20%. My current compatibility is 70%. Lu Yuan said softly. "I'm about the same. My angel affinity has increased by 10%, and my compatibility with the Golden Dragon has increased by 20%. My current compatibility is 70%. 70%. You can already use a martial soul fusion skill. Cher, are you interested in giving it a try? Furthermore, this is also the content of our third test, Lu Yuan said with a smile. After the rewards of the second test were given out, the content of the third test was given out. The content of the test was very simple. They had to cooperate with Chihiro Snow to use a martial soul fusion skill. The duration of the test was 7 days. Generally speaking, one would be able to use a martial soul fusion skill as long as one's spiritual compatibility exceeded 50%. Currently, Lu Yuan and Qian Rinxue's spiritual compatibility had reached 70%, which was considered relatively high. It was enough for them to use a martial soul fusion skill. Therefore, the difficulty of the third test was really not that high. Chapter 752. Using a martial soul fusion skill? Sure. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow's eyes lit up. She was also very curious about what kind of martial soul fusion skill would be like when the six-winged angel and golden dragon fused. Then let's go down and give it a try, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Chihiro Snow nodded, then moved her body at the same time as Lu Yuan. Suddenly, the two of them stopped at the same time. Their bodies were originally wrapped in the golden dragon armor, so it was fine if one of them moved, but when the two of them moved together, they immediately felt that something was wrong. Looking at Chihiro Snow in front of him, Lu Yuan's eyes were burning. Cher, our test is over, right? Lu Yuan asked softly. It's over. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow nodded blankly. Since it's over, I think there's something we need to do before we try to use the martial soul fusion skill. Staring at Chihiro Snow's golden eyes, Lu Yuan said word by word. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow's face couldn't help but blush. After being with Lu Yuan for so long, how could she not understand the meaning behind Lu Yuan's words? Although she was a little shy in her heart, she still nodded softly. To be honest, she also wanted to do it. Hearing Chihiro Snow's answer, Lu Yuan laughed out loud. With a light wave of his right hand and a slight movement of his feet, the two of them turned into a golden light at the same time and disappeared from the 9th step of the celestial stairway. A good show was about to unfold. In the blink of an eye, it was already the next morning. Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow appeared in the Angel Secret Realm. The Angel Secret Realm was very big, and it was rich in flora and fauna. The scenery was pleasant. After breakfast, Lu Yuan held Qian Rinxue's hand and took a stroll in the Angel Realm since they had nothing to do. Lu Yuan was naturally dressed in white, with his long hair casually draped over his shoulders. A white dragon belt was wrapped around his waist, and a purple jade qilin pendant hung from his body. Coupled with his extraordinary temperament, he was truly handsome. As for Chihiro Snow, even though she didn't enter the 9 heavenly steps today, she still wore an ice blue dress. A cold and pure aura emanated from Chihiro Snow's body. Ever since the cold energy in her body had awakened, Chihiro Snow's temperament had changed quite a bit. Originally, Chihiro Snow's most conspicuous temperament was holy and noble. Now, in addition to the holy and noble temperament, Chihiro Snow now had a faint trace of coldness. And it was this faint cold temperament that made Chihiro Snow's charm increase by a few points. The current Chihiro Snow could be holy and noble, but she could also be cold and pure. Her temperament could be changed according to her heart, which made Lu Yuan, who was beside her, even more infatuated with her. Cher, you look especially different today. As they walked, Lu Yuan looked at Chihiro Snow and couldn't help but say, "Then do you like it?" Chihiro Snow asked. "Is there a need to ask? Look at my burning eyes, you'll understand everything." Lu Yuan blinked and said with a chuckle. Hearing this, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but smile faintly. Seeing Lu Yuan's burning eyes, she was really satisfied. This showed that her charm was still very strong, and she was still attractive enough to Lu Yuan. Blinking her eyes, Chihiro Snow seemed to have thought of something and asked, "Obuchi, do you think I'm better looking or Bibidon is better looking?" Regarding Lu Yuan falling in love with Bibidon, she always had a grudge in her heart. She wanted to compare herself with Gu Yuna. She can admit that her appearance is not as good as Gu Yuna, but she will never allow herself to be worse than Bibidon. It's okay to be worse than anyone, but it can't be worse than her. This is the thought in Chihiro Snow's heart. Listening to Chihiro Snow's question, Lu Yuan suddenly had a headache. Why does Cher like to ask these difficult questions? "Hey, Obuchi, I asked you a question." Seeing Lu Yuan in a daze and not speaking, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but shake Lu Yuan's arm and urged, "It's hard to say. If it's just appearance, Cher is definitely a little better, but if you combine temperament and other things, the two of you are actually about the same." Lu Yuan told the truth. "So I'm better looking." Chihiro Snow smiled happily, decisively ignoring the second half of Lu Yuan's sentence. "What did Obuchi just say?" "He said my appearance is a little better than Bibidon, right?" "Well, that's it. Is there anything else?" "No, Obuchi didn't say anything else. Anyway, I didn't hear it." This is Chihiro Snow's inner monologue. Looking at the smile on Chihiro Snow's face, Lu Yuan shook his head helplessly. Chihiro Snow's competitive temperament has not changed, it's just restrained. Just like now, isn't this temperament causing trouble? Yesterday, Chihiro Snow's body suddenly erupted with cold energy. In addition to what Lu Yuan said to Chihiro Snow, there was actually an important guess that Lu Yuan didn't say. First, because there was insufficient evidence. Second, he was afraid that Chihiro Snow wouldn't be able to accept it and would fight with him instead. In that case, the gains wouldn't make up for the losses. Chihiro Snow's cold energy was innate, which meant that it was brought out from her mother's womb like her angel martial spirit. Obviously, this cold energy was definitely not brought to her by Bibidon, because Bibidon himself didn't have this thing. Therefore, a lot of things could be inferred from this. It's just that Lu Yuan still lacked substantial evidence, and there were still many things that he didn't understand. It was just an inference and guess. No matter how reasonable it wasn't very convincing. But there was one thing that Lu Yuan was very clear in his heart. Perhaps, he didn't need to keep a certain distance from Bibidon, but could be a little more intimate. After walking slowly for a while, Chihiro Snow's footsteps suddenly stopped. In front of them was a large open space. "Obuchi, we can try martial soul fusion here," Chihiro Snow said softly as she held Lu Yuan's hand. "Well, let's do it here then." Hearing this, Lu Yuan nodded lightly. "Obuchi, how should we try this martial soul fusion skill?" Having never come into contact with these things, Chihiro Snow didn't know how to operate these things at all. Hearing Chihiro Snow's words, Lu Yuan tapped his chin with his right hand and said, "Generally speaking, there are two requirements to use a martial soul fusion skill. One is the tacit understanding between the martial souls. Only with enough tacit understanding between the martial souls can it be possible to use a martial soul fusion skill. The other is to display the tacit understanding between the two parties. To use a martial soul fusion skill, the two parties don't have to be telepathic, but at the very least, their thoughts must be basically the same. There can't be any conflicting thoughts." Chapter 753. Our martial soul's compatibility has already reached 70%. This compatibility is actually very high, so the first point is not a problem. As for the tacit understanding between us, there should be no need to talk about it. Cher, is there anyone who has a better tacit understanding than the two of us? Looking at Chihiro Snow, Lu Yuan asked with a chuckle. Hearing this, Qian Renshue couldn't help but smile. Indeed, the two of them had already reached the point where they only needed a single glance to know what the other wanted to express. In terms of tacit understanding, there was naturally no need to say anything. Although it wasn't a tacit understanding, it wasn't too far off. So, how should we do it? Chihiro Snow asked. Martial soul fusion skills are ultimately a kind of strange soul skill produced by the mutual generation or complementation between martial souls. Therefore, if we want to carry out a martial soul fusion, we naturally have to first resonate with our martial souls. Let's release our martial souls first. Lu Yuan said softly. Alright. Chihiro Snow nodded, and a bright golden light burst forth from his body. A mysterious and ancient chant sounded, and a woman with 8 pairs of pure white wings opened her arms behind Chihiro Snow. Suddenly, a holy and majestic aura was released from Chihiro Snow's body. At the same time, a bright golden light began to circulate rapidly on Lu Yuan's body. A dragon's roar resounded, and a huge golden dragon shadow appeared behind Lu Yuan, releasing a strong dragon's aura. At the same time, 6 purple, black, and red soul rings appeared under Lu Yuan's feet. On Lu Yuan's body, a strong aura began to rise. Obuchi, your aura is so oppressive. Feeling the pressure from Lu Yuan's aura, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but frown and say softly. Her soul power was already at rank 69, which was 4 ranks higher than Lu Yuan's. However, Lu Yuan's aura was much stronger than hers. Under Lu Yuan's aura, she actually found it difficult to breathe. I'll withdraw it right away. Seeing that Chihiro Snow was a little uncomfortable, Lu Yuan instantly withdrew his aura. After Lu Yuan withdrew his aura, Chihiro Snow's expression immediately became much better. Obuchi, what do we do next? Chihiro Snow asked. Let's fuse our auras together. Come, let's hug. Lu Yuan said as he pulled Chihiro Snow into his arms. Hold me tight, don't think about that nonsense, Lu Yuan said when he noticed that something was wrong with Chihiro Snow in his arms. Oh! Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but blush slightly. When she was hugged by Lu Yuan and felt the aura that belonged to the golden dragon, her thoughts couldn't help but go astray for a moment. Now that Lu Yuan had pointed it out, she really felt a little embarrassed. And then? Chihiro Snow asked. Then slowly circulate your soul force. With the infusion of soul force, the aura of your martial soul can be completely released. Lu Yuan said. Okay. Chihiro Snow nodded, and the soul force in her body began to circulate rapidly. In an instant, the holy aura of the angel martial soul was released, and the resplendent golden light illuminated the surrounding space. Lu Yuan also began to circulate his soul force from the Clear Breath Sutra. The golden dragon roared towards the sky, and the aura that belonged to the golden dragon was immediately released. The 70% tacit understanding between their martial souls was naturally not just for show. When the aura of both martial souls was completely released, a faint traction force was produced between the 2 martial souls. This change caused Lu Yuan and Qian Renxue to involuntarily reveal a hint of joy on their faces. The 2 of them hugged tightly, and the soul force in their bodies also circulated separately. As time passed, the traction force between the 8-winged angel and the golden dragon became stronger and stronger, but for some reason, it seemed that the final step was still missing, and they were unable to fuse intimately together. Obuchi, I can feel that the traction between our martial souls is already very strong, but for some reason it still can't fuse, as if something is missing. Sensing this situation, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but say aloud. I feel it too. Hearing this, Lu Yuan replied. Could it be that our posture isn't intimate enough? Obuchi, why don't we try kissing? Chihiro Snow was silent for a while and said softly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. He carefully stared at Chihiro Snow's eyes, and her eyes were shining brightly. It was obvious that this girl was serious, and wasn't deliberately teasing him. You think kissing will work? Lu Yuan asked. How do you know if you don't try? Chihiro Snow said. Okay then. Lu Yuan nodded. It was just a kiss and he didn't care. In fact, he was even enjoying it. Two lips intersected, and Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow kissed to their heart's content. Strangely enough, with this kiss, there were some changes between the martial souls of the two. The two martial souls were attracted to each other, and there was a tendency for them to fuse into one. Seeing this scene, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but feel happy. However, before she could finish being happy, the trend suddenly stopped, and Chihiro Snow's expression couldn't help but be stunned. Then, there was a strong sense of doubt in her eyes. On the other hand, Lu Yuan's expression shook, and a trace of understanding flashed across his eyes. Use all your strength to activate the clear divine power in your body. Letting go of Chihiro Snow's lips, Lu Yuan said loudly, and then began to activate the divine power hidden in his body. Hearing Lu Yuan's voice, Chihiro Snow hurriedly did as she was told, and activated the clear divine power in her body. Chihiro Snow's body emitted a faint white light, and Lu Yuan's body flickered with a faint golden light. When these two lights lit up, the attraction between the eight-winged angel and the golden dragon instantly increased, and then quickly began to fuse, and a golden light began to bloom. The dense golden light almost became solid, and completely enveloped Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow's bodies. The golden light flickered violently, as if something was being nurtured in it. After a while, the golden light slowly dissipated, and an aura as if a god had come back to life suddenly filled the air. In midair, where the golden light dissipated, a figure slowly appeared. His body exuded a supreme and noble aura, as if he was above the heavens and the earth. He wore a dazzling golden crown on his head, and in the middle of the crown was a dazzling golden gem. His body was densely covered with a layer of gorgeous golden armor, and the armor was made up of golden scales. The scales were diamond-shaped, and looked very much like the dragon scales of a golden dragon. Behind him were 4 pairs of pure white wings, and the wings gently fluttered, exuding a holy aura. The figure waved his hand slightly, and a golden spear about 3 meters long appeared in his hand. The spear was densely covered with ancient and mysterious magic patterns, and at the tip of the spear, the golden dragon head opened slightly, spitting out a sharp spear tip. And looking at the figure's face, it was exactly the same as Lu Yuan's. Chapter 754. After martial soul fusion, such an illusory figure appeared. The combination of the 8-winged angel and the golden dragon actually produced such a transformation. It didn't have the strange appearance of the golden dragon with 4 pairs of snow-white wings like Lu Yuan had imagined. Instead, the figure after the martial soul fusion took on a human form. This should be due to the 8-winged angel martial soul. In this fusion skill, the human form and the 4 pairs of snow-white wings on its back were undoubtedly the characteristics of the 8-winged angel. The dragon scale armor on its body and the golden dragon spear in its hand were undoubtedly the representatives of the golden dragon. As for the scarlet gold armor, the dragon spear that was densely covered with mysterious demonic patterns, and the golden crown on its head that was densely covered with golden gems, these were some of the new things that were produced by the fusion of the 2 martial souls. Finally, from the face of the human figure, it could be seen that the main person in charge of this martial soul fusion skill was Lu Yuan. After the 8-winged angel and golden dragon fused, the martial soul fusion skill produced perfectly fused the characteristics of both martial souls. The entire figure was filled with a holy, noble, and supreme aura. Lu Yuan gently raised his hand, and the golden dragon's spear pierced through the air. A golden spear light shot out, and was magnified more than 10 times in the air. Instead of a spear light, it was more like a golden spear aura. The aura that was more than 30 meters long directly struck the empty space in front of it, and immediately let out a loud sound. The surrounding ground couldn't help but tremble. The empty space that was more than 100 meters in diameter was directly smashed into the ground. The layer of soil was broken, and it was a mess. A bottomless hole appeared at the place where the astral spear collided, and a clear stream of water directly shot out from the hole. It had actually gone deep into the water reservoir. It was just a light attack in the air, but it caused such a terrifying destructive force. What a great martial soul fusion skill. Come, little Yuan, let's try it. As the exceptional Douluo, Sendoryu naturally couldn't be unaware of such a loud noise in the angel secret realm. After sensing the commotion, his figure suddenly flashed out. Looking at Lu Yuan, who was wearing a crown on his head, wearing a gorgeous reddish-gold battle armor, holding a golden dragon spear, and flapping the wings on his back, a hint of interest flashed across his eyes. He was exuding a supreme and noble aura. After cultivating for so many years, he had never seen such a strange fusion skill between Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow. This aura made his heart tremble. If it weren't for the fact that his cultivation was much higher than Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow, facing this aura, he would probably have the urge to prostrate himself in worship. Therefore, he really wanted to try out the power of this martial soul fusion skill. Okay, old man, take my shot. Looking at Sendoryu opposite him, Lu Yuan's eyes flashed with a hint of fighting spirit. He wanted to see how strong an ultimate Douluo was. He raised his golden dragon spear, and rays of golden light burst forth. The demonic patterns on the spear seemed to have awakened, emitting a mysterious fiery red light. Under the illumination of the fiery red light, the golden dragon spear had the same golden color as the battle armor on his body. Profundity, Heavenly Emperor Demon Slayer. Lu Yuan let out a low chant, and the golden dragon spear stabbed directly at Sendoryu. The golden spear light flashed, and a dragon's roar was heard. The golden spear light turned into a huge golden dragon roaring in the air, and wanted to pounce on Sendoryu. The golden dragon was 100 meters long, and it roared in the air with a powerful aura. Looking at the huge golden dragon, Sendoryu's body circulated with golden light. The six-winged angel behind his back slowly unfolded, and 9 black, and red soul rings rippled under Sendoryu's body. His 5th soul ring lit up, and a huge golden sword appeared in his hand. 5th soul skill, Holy Sword. The huge golden sword was more than 30 meters long, and it was surrounded by golden flames. Sendoryu waved his arm gently, and the huge golden sword slashed down in the air, and collided with the golden spear light. Boom! 2 huge bursts of energy burst forth, and intense energy fluctuations suddenly erupted in mid-air. The golden light and the golden light shone, and the light was so intense that it was comparable to the light of the sun. Lu Yuan was forced back more than 100 meters by the huge recoil from the collision of the 2 bursts of energy. He flapped his wings slightly and stabilized himself. However, Sendoryu was still in the same place, and he didn't move at all. It was obvious that even though Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow had used their martial soul fusion skill, they were still at a disadvantage against Sendoryu. However, Sendoryu wasn't disappointed at all. On the contrary, his eyes were shining. The energy fluctuations in mid-air slowly dissipated, and only Sendoryu and Lu Yuan were still in mid-air. Suddenly, Lu Yuan's body trembled and golden light shone. The Ji-Zun figure that was originally fused into one disappeared, and Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow's figures were revealed. It was their first time using a martial soul fusion skill, and they weren't very familiar with it, so the fusion time was very short. After fighting with Sendoryu, Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow couldn't control it, and they disintegrated. Of course, this wasn't a big problem. As long as they practiced diligently, they would be able to completely control this martial soul fusion skill sooner or later. Obuchi, share, this martial soul fusion skill of yours is very good. It's very powerful. The power of that spear just now has already touched the threshold of a rank 98 peak Douluo. It seems like I won't have to worry about your safety as long as the two of you stay together in the future. Sendoryu stroked his beard and laughed softly. Hearing this, Lu Yuan and Chihiro Snow looked at each other, and a smile flashed across their eyes at the same time. "Oh yes, what's the name of your martial soul fusion skill just now?" Sendoryu asked curiously. "Our martial soul fusion skill is called the Heavenly Emperor, or the Heavenly Emperor Transformation," Lu Yuan said. "Heavenly Emperor Transformation?" Sendoryu muttered softly. Then, he turned to the two of them and said, "This is a very good martial soul fusion skill. The two of you have to practice more. Once you're familiar with it, there won't be many people on the continent who can hurt you. This way, your ability to protect yourselves will be greatly improved." "Yes, we will. We'll try it out when we're free. Furthermore, it can also improve our tacit understanding. Isn't that right, Cher?" Lu Yuan looked at Chihiro Snow. His eyes roamed around certain parts of her body, and he seemed to be hinting at something as he said. Seeing Lu Yuan's gaze, Chihiro Snow couldn't help but secretly spit. However, facing Sendoryu, she still blushed slightly and nodded, indicating that she would. "Yes, that's good. Then the two of you can slowly study it. This old man won't disturb the two of you here." After testing the martial soul fusion skill, Sendoryu immediately left without any hesitation. A golden light flashed, and his figure suddenly disappeared. Chapter 755. The third test of the Holy Sword, successfully performed a martial soul fusion skill with the Angel Inheritor. The time limit is 7 days. As of now, the test has been completed. As it only took 1 day to complete the test, the reward has been tripled. The reward is an increase in the age of all your soul rings by 3,000 years and a rank and a half increase in soul power. The moment Sendoryu left, the voice of the completion of the third test of the Holy Sword sounded in Lu Yuan's mind. All of his soul rings had increased by another 3,000 years. This time, his first soul ring had finally entered the ranks of 10,000-year soul rings. Although it was only 1,300 years, it was still a genuine 10,000-year soul ring. So my current soul ring combination has become black, 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 red, and red? Lu Yuan's lips curled into a smile. After so long, he had finally gotten rid of his purple 1,000-year soul rings, and all of his soul rings had advanced to 10,000-year and above. It had to be said that these 4 black and 2 red rings looked more domineering than 2 purple, 2 black, and 2 red rings. After all, there was still a big gap between a 1,000-year soul ring and a 10,000-year soul ring. "Cher, what's your reward?" Lu Yuan couldn't help but ask while holding Chihiro Snow's hand. "My reward is a 15% increase in angel affinity and a rank and a half increase in soul power." Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow immediately answered. "A rank and a half increase in soul power, doesn't that mean you've reached rank 70? Lu Yuan asked. "Well, I'm already rank 70. You're now rank 66 and a half, right?" Chihiro Snow said. "When you reach rank 70, you should have a God-bestowed soul ring, but I suggest you keep it until your 9th ring. At that time, you can try for a 100,000-year soul ring, or even a fierce beast soul ring. If you use it now, even if you can increase the age of your soul ring to more than 90,000 years, it will still be a 10,000-year soul ring. That would be a bit of a pity," Lu Yuan said with a serious expression. "Well, you're right. I shouldn't be able to withstand a 100,000-year soul ring. After all, my physique is still a bit weak." Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Chihiro Snow nodded and said, "That's right. If you had twin martial souls now, with the enhancement of your body, it wouldn't be difficult for you to bear a 100,000-year soul ring. But it's a pity that this matter of twin martial souls will drag on for a long time, and you need a soul ring now." Lu Yuan shook his head, and there was a look of pity on his face. If he could, he really wanted to give Chihiro Snow's 7th soul ring a 100,000-year soul ring. That way, Chihiro Snow's martial soul true body would be terrifyingly powerful. Once she became a soul sage, she would be able to fight against average titled battle pet warriors and even defeat them. If she were to become a soul sage with a 10,000-year soul ring, Qian Renxue would still be able to exchange blows with an ordinary titled Douluo with her 8-winged angel true body. However, her chances of defeating an ordinary titled Douluo would be slim. It's not a pity. Even if my 7th soul ring can't be a 100,000-year soul ring, I'll definitely be able to withstand a 100,000-year soul ring when I become a soul Douluo. There are very few soul Douluo with a 100,000-year soul ring. When that time comes, you have to find me a 100,000-year soul ring. You promised me that. Chihiro Snow smiled. Of course. Leave it to me. Lu Yuan smiled. Oh yes, Cher, has your 4th test been released? Lu Yuan suddenly asked as if he had thought of something. Yes. The 4th test. Angel's Glory. Unify the Heaven Do Empire within 4 years, and shine the glory of angels on the entire Heaven Do. Chihiro Snow said softly. That's about the same as me. My 4th test is to help you unify the Heaven Do Empire within 4 years. Now that the Snowy Night Emperor is ill, the governance of the Heaven Do Empire is all on you. With the help of the Dragon King Hall, it won't be too difficult to unify the Heaven Do Empire within 4 years. However, just to be safe, Cher, you have to return immediately after you obtain your 7th soul ring. This is to prevent the person who replaced you from exposing himself. After all, a titled Douluo might be able to see through his disguise. This matter concerns our test. We can't let our guard down. Lu Yuan said sternly. Yes, I know. Are you going to bring Zhu Qing to the Xianra Empire next? Chihiro Snow asked. Yes, I'm going to bring Zhu Qing to the Xianra Empire to cancel the engagement. Although she hasn't said anything, I know that she still has a grudge against this so-called engagement. This has become a thorn in her heart. This time, I'm going to remove this thorn. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed as he spoke in a deep voice. However, the Xianra Empire has always been tough. They aren't as cowardly as the Heaven Do Empire. You crippled Davis, destroyed Dai Mubai, and now you're going to cancel the engagement. I'm afraid the Star Luo royal family won't let this go so easily. They might find trouble with you. Chihiro Snow's voice carried a tinge of worry. It's all right. I'm waiting for them to find trouble with me. I can take this opportunity to cripple a few of the Star Luo royal family's experts. It'll be more convenient when we attack the Star Luo Empire in the future. As for danger, with Elder Long around, who can stop us if we want to leave? Don't worry, Lu Yuan said softly. However, as soon as Lu Yuan finished speaking, a cold voice rang out in Lu Yuan's mind. Ding. Mission issued. Sign-in location. Sunhua City, Xianra Empire. Sign-in time limit, within 3 months. Sign-in reward. 100,000-year Radiant Unicorn, 2 title Douluo draw cards. System, you're alive again? Hearing the system take the initiative to issue a mission, Lu Yuan actually felt like crying. How long has it been since that time in the dense fog forest? The system hasn't issued a mission since that time. Furthermore, the mission reward this time was quite humane. 100,000-year Radiant Unicorn. Isn't this the 7th soul ring that I'm obviously giving to Cher? System, you're really getting more and more considerate. Love you, Lu Yuan said in his mind. System, there are still 2 title Douluo draw cards. I don't know who I'll get this time, but no matter who I get after this draw, my subordinates will definitely not be inferior to the Pontiff's Palace and the Consecrated Hall, whether in terms of quality or quantity. As he thought of this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile slightly. With 2 more title Douluo, even if the Frenzy Rhino Douluo was eliminated, the Dragon King Hall still had 7 title Douluo, including ZG. 7 title Douluo. This strength was definitely comparable to the Consecrated Hall and the Pontiff's Palace. It could be said that after this draw, Lu Yuan's promise to Chihiro Snow was to establish a faction that wasn't inferior to the consecrated hall and the pontiff's palace. How could Lu Yuan not be happy? Chapter 756. On the empty official road, a horse carriage was slowly moving. The carriage was heading towards the Xianra Empire. Needless to say, the people in the carriage were Lu Yuan and the rest. After completing the third test, Martial Soul Fusion, Lu Yuan got Qian Rinxue to stay in Martial Spirit City and not rush to hunt for soul rings after learning about the sign-in mission this time. After all, no soul beast was more suitable for her than 100,000-year radiant unicorn. The eight-winged angel possessed the three elements of holy, ultimate light and ultimate fire. On the other hand, the 100,000-year radiant unicorn was a soul beast that possessed the pure element of light. It was incomparably holy and was most suitable for Qian Rinxue. With this radiant unicorn as a sacrifice, Chihiro Snow's abilities would increase significantly. When she returned to Heaven-Do City, Lu Yuan would be more at ease. Naturally, he brought Zhu Zhuqing, Ma Xiaotao, and Long Xiaoyao directly to the Xianra Empire. More accurately speaking, they were going to Sinua City in the Xianra Empire. Zhu Zhuqing's family lived here, and they were the actual rulers of Sinua City. Lu Yuan, Zhu Zhuqing, and Ma Xiaotao were sitting in the carriage, while Long Xiaoyao was driving the carriage outside. Lu Yuan was probably the first person in history who dared to let an ultimate Douluo drive a carriage. Ma Xiaotao and Zhu Zhuqing were only able to enjoy such treatment because of Lu Yuan. Brother, can you take me into consideration? If you want to be close to Zhuqing's mother, you have to pay attention to the occasion. Ma Xiaotao couldn't help but complain when she saw Lu Yuan pull Zhu Zhuqing into his embrace and let her sit on his lap. He even caressed her hair gently, as if he was very close to her. Why, do you have a problem with that? If you don't want to watch, you can go out and enjoy the breeze with Elder Long. You're already in the carriage, and you're still talking so much nonsense. Do you see other families where subordinates and masters sit together? Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but glare at Ma Xiaotao. Master, please don't. This girl is too noisy. Let me be alone for a while. Long Xiaoyao, who was driving the carriage outside, couldn't help but interrupt when he heard Lu Yuan's words. Looking at Ma Xiaotao, Lu Yuan said with a chuckle, "Look, even Elder Long dislikes you for being noisy. Tisk, Elder Long is just too old. He doesn't have the energy of us youngsters. How am I messing around? I'm just a little more active and lively." Ma Xiaotao retorted. Yes, it's very active and lively. That day in the Great Star Do Forest, I don't know who was the one who messed around with that 100,000-year gangster rabbit, but they turned the entire forest into a mess. Lu Yuan curled his lips and said. Ma Xiaotao couldn't help but be stunned when she heard this. Back then, she and Xiao Wu had caused chaos in the entire Great Star Do Forest. This was a fact, and she couldn't refute it at all. Great Star Do Forest, 100,000-year gangster rabbit? Obuchi, what are you talking about? Zhu Zhuqing was a little confused when she heard Lu Yuan's words. Well, Lu Yuan looked at Zhu Zhuqing. He wanted to say something, but he didn't. Why, you can't tell me? Obuchi? Zhu Zhuqing stared at Lu Yuan with her big eyes and asked softly. It's not that I can't tell you. Forget it, I'll tell you some things. Actually, I have some connections with some soul beasts in the Great Star Do Forest. You know the beast god Ditian, right? Perhaps it's because I have the Golden Dragon's bloodline. Although I'm human, I have a good relationship with him. He was the one who arranged the soul beast sacrifice for me, Lu Yuan said as he rolled his eyes and looked at Zhu Zhuqing. Hearing this, Ma Xiaotao curled her lip. Ditian caught you twice like you were a little chick, and you wanted to beat him up. Even so, you still have the cheek to say that you have a good relationship with him? Tui, you're lying through your teeth. Oh, I see. No wonder you had 100,000-year soul beast sacrifice for you. What about Gu Yuna? Weren't you with her that year? What's her identity? However, Zhu Zhuqing believed his words. She nodded her head and asked again. Na-Er's identity is very special. I'll tell you, but you have to keep it a secret, Lu Yuan said with a serious look on his face. Tell me, I'll keep it a secret. Zhu Zhuqing nodded and said. Actually, Na-Er is a god. A true god. However, she belongs to the Great Star Do Forest. She's responsible for protecting the Great Star Do Forest, just like how the sea god is responsible for protecting the entire ocean. That's why she doesn't leave the Great Star Do Forest under normal circumstances. There's no news of her on the continent either. I was actually in the Great Star Do Forest when I left for a year. I didn't even tell Cher about this. You have to keep it a secret. Lu Yuan reminded her once again. He had stealthily changed the concept. He had described Gu Yuna as the guardian of the Great Star Do Forest. Although Gu Yuna was indeed a guardian of the Great Star Do Forest, and was indeed a god, she was actually a beast god. Lu Yuan had compared her to the sea god. Zhu Zhuqing naturally wouldn't think that Gu Yuna was a beast. It wasn't that Lu Yuan didn't want to reveal Gu Yuna's true identity. It was just that he wasn't powerful enough to protect everything. One day, when he was powerful enough, he wouldn't have to hide these things anymore. Furthermore, he had suddenly decided to tell Zhu Zhuqing these things today. Firstly, he had let it slip. Secondly, he had actually thought about these things carefully. Gu Yuna was going to meet Chihiro Snow, Zhu Zhuqing, and the others sooner or later. At the very least, he had to arrange an identity for her. Since he was going to arrange it, it was best to do it now. Zhu Zhuqing had a cold and quiet personality. She was reasonable and sensible. Most importantly, she didn't have any conflicts with Gu Yuna. She could be the first person he could confide in. After she found out, he would see her reaction. If she was all right, he could choose to slowly tell Hulina and the others. Furthermore, Zhu Zhuqing might be able to help him during this process. It could be said that Lu Yuan was very considerate when doing things. Yes, I will. But I still have a question. Didn't you say that gods can't descend to the lower realm? Then why can Gu Yuna stay on the continent even though she's a god? Zhu Zhuqing asked. Because Na-Er just became a god. According to the rules of the god realm, newly ascended gods can stay on the continent for another 100 years. After 100 years, they can enter the god realm again. Therefore, Na-Er can naturally stay on the continent. Lu Yuan said. So that's how it is. Zhu Zhuqing was enlightened. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's appearance, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile slightly. What a joke. How could he miss anything when he did things? He had thought about this point long ago. Don't ask. If you did, it meant that she just became a god. How about it? The reason was sufficient. Do you have any other questions? Lu Yuan asked. No. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing shook her head and gently lay in Lu Yuan's arms. To be honest, Lu Yuan's words were a little shocking. She didn't expect Gu Yuna to be so outstanding. She was a real god. Compared to her, she was really far behind. Even the inheritance of the sea god was fought for her by Lu Yuan. It seemed that she had to work harder from now on, Zhu Zhuqing secretly said in her heart. Chapter 757. 3 days later. A horse carriage came from the official road. Outside the carriage, a black-clothed old man was driving the carriage. Master, we're almost at Sinua City. Long Xiaoyao's voice rang out as he looked at the tall city gates. All right, I got it. Lu Yuan replied plainly in the horse carriage. Turning his gaze slightly, Lu Yuan's gaze shifted to Ma Xiaotao. Sister Xiaotao, I remember that sect master Fu Yinheng's Zither sect is in Tianjin City next door to Sinua City, right? Yes, master. Do you have any instructions for me? Ma Xiaotao asked. Yes, I want you to look for sect master Fu and ask him to keep an eye on the movements of the Star Luo royal family. This time, we came here to break off the engagement. Regardless of whether we succeed or not, the Star Luo royal family will definitely take action against us. After all, I crippled Davis, and Dai Mubai was also publicly punished by teacher not long ago. The Xianra Empire lost a lot of face because of this. Not only did their prestige take a huge hit, but they also lost their two most outstanding successors, Davis and Dai Mubai. The Star Luo imperial families Dai Tianfeng must hate me to the core. Now that I'm here to cancel the engagement, he'll definitely find trouble with me. However, the Xianra Empire's top fighting strength can't threaten us. Therefore, it's very likely that they'll send out a Soul Master Legion to overwhelm us with numbers. Although I'm not afraid, it's always good to be prepared in advance. Furthermore, I want to give Dai Tianfeng a huge blow this time. I want to destroy the Xianra Empire's prestige once again. Lu Yuan's eyes flashed as he spoke plainly. Yes, I understand. I'll go immediately. Ma Xiaotao said. Alright, go. I'll wait for you to come back before going to the Zhu family. The Zhu family has been married to the Star Luo imperial family for generations. It won't be easy to get them to agree to cancel the engagement. Although the engagement is only in name now, we still have to use absolute strength to conquer them. Otherwise, they won't be so easy to talk to. Oh yes, you should bring your Dragon King's token. If you want to mobilize the forces under the Dragon King's Hall, it's useless even if you're an elder. Therefore, you must bring the Dragon King's token. Lu Yuan warned in a low voice. Don't worry, my lord. I've already brought her. Please wait for a moment, my lord. Ma Xiaotao will be back soon. Ma Xiaotao replied. Then, she got out of the carriage. Her figure turned into a red light, and quickly disappeared into the horizon. It had to be said that Ma Xiaotao was usually a little active and playful, but she was still very serious when it came to doing things. Otherwise, Lu Yuan wouldn't have brought her along. Apart from the fact that he had a beautiful woman by his side, Ma Xiaotao was also very serious. After Ma Xiaotao left, Lu Yuan and the other two continued on their way. Zhu Qing, I might be a little impolite this time, and I might use force to pressure you. I want to let you know in advance so that you won't hold a grudge. Lu Yuan said softly as he caressed Zhu Zhuqing's long hair. It's okay. To me, that family was only endless coldness and darkness. Other than my mother taking care of me a little when I was young, I didn't feel any warmth. After I awakened my martial soul, my elder sister was always thinking about how to kill me. She used poison, assassination, and all kinds of method. However, they still let her do whatever she wanted even though they knew about it. They tacitly approved of her actions. Otherwise, I wouldn't have risked my life to enter the life relic. I originally wanted to give it a try and struggle. Fortunately, I met you that time. So, no matter what you do this time, I'll support you from behind. However, Obuchi, I hope that you won't kill too many people for my sake. Zhu Zhuqing leaned against Lu Yuan's chest. There was a hint of pleading in her voice. Don't worry. I'm going to marry you this time, not just break off the engagement. Otherwise, there wouldn't be a need to consider so much. So, I won't kill people indiscriminately. I mainly want to use force before using force. I want to shock the people of your Zhu family first, and then settle our marriage. It's true that the Zhu family and the Star Luo royal family have been married for generations, but I don't believe that your father and the others are really of the same mind as the Star Luo royal family. As long as I show a strong force and promise a certain amount of benefits, it shouldn't be difficult for us to be together. Lu Yuan said softly. Well, it's up to you. I'll listen to you. Listening to Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing gently nodded her small head with an obedient look. Hearing this, Lu Yuan smiled slightly and hugged Zhu Zhuqing's delicate body tighter. He buried his head in Zhu Zhuqing's long hair and sniffed the enchanting fragrance. At the gate of Sinuous City, the carriage slowly drove in. The moment Lu Yuan and the others' carriage entered Sinuous City, the system's cold voice sounded in Lu Yuan's mind. We have arrived at the sign-in location, Sinua City. The sign-in time is 3 hours. The countdown begins. Has the sign-in started? It's very early this time. Listening to the system's voice, Lu Yuan couldn't help muttering to himself, the corners of his mouth raised into a smile. He thought that this time, the sign-in would definitely be triggered when they arrived at the Zhu family or even the Star Luo royal family sent troops to attack them. He didn't expect that the sign-in would start as soon as they entered Sinua City. Could it be that the people I got from the sign-in this time are more important to my operation this time? Lu Yuan couldn't help but secretly think. According to the system's nature, this is really possible. But there is definitely no danger. I don't feel the pressure of danger in my heart. In that case, I won't care about him. Thinking of this, Lu Yuan put this matter aside. Zhu Qing, do you know where is a good hotel in Sinua City? Let's stay there first, and when Sister Xiaodao comes back, we will go to the Zhu family. Looking at Zhu Qing, Lu Yuan said softly. I know, the best hotel in Sinua City is called the Crescent Moon Hotel. We can stay there temporarily, but… Speaking of this, Zhu Qing's voice paused. But what? Lu Yuan asked. But my family also has a share in this Crescent Moon Hotel. Once we check in, they will know that we are here. Zhu Qing said. If they know, then let them know. This time, I have no intention of hiding it. I just want the whole continent to know that I, Lu Yuan, want to marry you, Zhu Qing. This time, I came here specifically to break off the engagement. I want to see what the Star Luo royal family can do to me. And your father and the others, they will know sooner or later anyway. It doesn't hurt to let them know in advance. Would they dare to come here and make trouble for us? Lu Yuan asked with a chuckle. He wouldn't dare. Hearing this, Zhu Qing shook her head gently. Chapter 758. He wouldn't dare. Zhu Qing shook her head and said, My father looks like a very stubborn and cold person, but he's actually very weak. If you take the initiative to visit him, he might make things difficult for you to avoid trouble with the Star Luo imperial family and the Zhu family's reputation. However, you're staying in a hotel, and you're protected by the Dragon Emperor. He wouldn't dare to take the initiative to find trouble with you. Ah, Zhu Qing, you don't have a very high opinion of your father, Lu Yuan said with a smile. He's always been such a person. Although he's the Grand Duke of the Netherworld and has a high status in the Xianra Empire, he's very weak inside. If you visit him this time, you just have to appear a little stronger. Under the pressure of your strength, he'll definitely give in. Therefore, the Zhu family is actually very easy to deal with. I'm mainly worried about the Star Luo imperial family. They're very cruel. This can be seen from the way they fight for the throne. The two most outstanding princes of this generation of the Star Luo imperial family have both fallen into your hands. Therefore, they'll definitely make a move on you after they find out about you. Although you're very strong and have the protection of 2 titled Soul Masters, and Elder Long is an ultimate Douluo, I'm still a little worried about you. Zhu Qing said softly. You're confused because you're worried. This means that you care about me. Lu Yuan smiled as he touched Zhu Qing's nose. Yes, I'm already yours. Furthermore, I have nothing but you. How can I not care about you? I'm not like you. You have 5 girlfriends and a pestering teacher. I'm afraid you don't care about me. Zhu Qing rolled her eyes and said softly. What nonsense are you talking about? Of course I care about you. You've been with me for so long. Don't you feel anything about how I treat you? Lu Yuan looked a little displeased. Don't be angry. I'm just joking. Zhu Qing hurriedly explained when she saw the displeasure on Lu Yuan's face. Actually, I'm also pretending. Lu Yuan's displeased expression quickly disappeared, and a smile appeared on his face again. I've been fooled by you again. Zhu Qing immediately huffed when she saw this. Hey, aren't you trying to scare me too? It's just that your skills aren't as good as mine, Lu Yuan said with a smile. You're still talking. Zhu Zhuqing made a fierce expression at Lu Yuan. She looked like a little kitten when she was angry. She was really cute. I insist. What can you do to me? Lu Yuan said. I can bite you to death. Grabbing Lu Yuan's arm, Zhu Zhuqing bit down. Crescent Moon Hotel. They booked 2 rooms. Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing shared one room, while Long Xiaoyao shared another. The room number was 606. With Zhu Zhuqing in tow, Lu Yuan went straight into the room. The furnishings of the room were pretty good. After all, it was the best hotel in Sinuous City. It couldn't be compared to the Holy Light Hotel, but it was still first class. At least one thing that made Lu Yuan very satisfied was that the bed was really big. He liked this kind of big bed. He held Zhu Zhuqing's hand and sat down on the sofa. Lu Yuan lifted Zhu Zhuqing's chin with his finger. There was a strange smile on his face. Does it still hurt? Lu Yuan asked. You're still talking about it. Why is your skin so hard? I bit so hard, but I didn't leave a single mark. Instead, my teeth hurt. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan with a trace of doubt in her eyes. Of course it's hard. My body is now transparent just like real jade. It's invulnerable to weapons, water, and fire. If you want to break through my defense, you have to be at least a titled battle pet warrior. It'll be strange if you can hurt me with your teeth. Lu Yuan said with a smile. Then why didn't you remind me? Zhu Zhuqing's eyes were filled with resentment. You were the one who wanted to bite me. You bit me so hard that I didn't have time to remind you. Why do you have to learn from your senior sister? Why are you all like puppies? Why do you like to bite people? Zhuqing, you have to remember that you're a cat, not a dog. Lu Yuan said helplessly. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but glare at Lu Yuan. She didn't answer and sat there alone without saying a word. Seeing this, Lu Yuan smiled and gently hugged her. The night was getting dark. Zhu Zhuqing was bathing in the bathroom, while Lu Yuan was lying on the sofa, playing with his fingers in boredom. Ding, the sign-in mission is complete. Congratulations to the host for obtaining 100,000-year Radiant Unicorn and 2 titled Douluo draw card. Suddenly, the system's voice sounded in Lu Yuan's mind. Is it finally completed? Hearing the system's voice, Lu Yuan couldn't help but have a look of joy on his face. I'll keep the 100,000-year Radiant Unicorn in the system space for the time being. I won't touch it. I'll take it out and give it to Cher when I go back. But I can use these 2 titled Douluo draw cards first. I wonder who I'll get this time. Lu Yuan thought to himself. System, use the titled Douluo draw card. Lu Yuan said softly. Use the titled Douluo draw card. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Taotai Douluo Xian Zi. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Class 9 Soul Engineer, Jing Hongqian, Hall Master of the Illustrious Virtue Hall. Oh? It's the 2 of them? Hearing the system's voice, Lu Yuan was slightly delighted. The Taotai Douluo Xianzi was the master of the Sea God's Pavilion after the dragon god Douluo Muen during the second battle. He was a rank 98 Douluo, and his martial soul was the godly Taotai Bull. He was very strong, and was at least much stronger than the golden crocodile from the Hall of Consecration. After all, the godly Taotai Bull possessed the Taoyes bloodline. It was a dragon-type martial soul, and its rank was much higher than the golden crocodile king's. Jing Hongqian was a Class 9 soul engineer. During the second battle, he was the leader of the Sun-Moon Empire's Hongqian clan and the Hall Master of the Illustrious Virtue Hall. His martial soul was a toad, and he was a rank 94 titled Douluo. Although he was only rank 94, he was equipped with a full set of Class 9 soul tools. Even a rank 97 transcendent Douluo couldn't take him down. He was very familiar with the use of soul tools. It seems like we're quite lucky this time. Needless to say, the Taotai Douluo is very strong. He should be the strongest person below an ultimate Douluo. With him, the quality of titled Douluo in the Dragon King Hall can rival that of the Hall of Consecration, or even surpass it by a little. After all, Elder Long is a little stronger than Elder Qian, and the Taotai Douluo is a little stronger than Grandpa Golden Crocodile. Uncle Yen and Sister Xiaotao are also powerful transcendent Douluo, and they all have 100,000-year soul rings. This is something that the Hall of Consecration's Qianjun Demon and the rest can't compare to. In terms of fighting strength, Uncle Yen and the rest are much stronger. Chapter 759. Among the remaining people, only Jing Hongchen and Elder Dugu are below rank 95. Both of them are rank 94 now. However, Jing Hongchen is quite strong with the help of a soul tool. He can fight a transcendent Douluo. This means that Elder Dugu is still the weakest. It seems like Elder Dugu can't get rid of his title as the weakest. As he thought until here, Lu Yuan couldn't help but laugh. In the original novel, Dugu Bo was the weakest titled Douluo. He couldn't beat anyone of the same rank. Right now, he wasn't the weakest titled Douluo anymore. After all, he was a rank 94 titled Douluo. However, he was still the weakest in the Dragon King Palace. This was because the Frenzy Rhino Douluo didn't belong to the Dragon King Palace, strictly speaking. He belonged to Sendoryu. If that's the case, I have quite a lot of power now. As he thought about his current lineup, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. Long Xiaoyao, a rank 99 ultimate Douluo. Xian Zi, a rank 98 pinnacle Douluo. Yen Xiaozhe, a rank 97 transcendent Douluo. Ziji, a demonic infernal dragon king who had lived for more than 200,000 years. She was comparable to a rank 97 transcendent Douluo. Ma Xiaotao, a rank 96 transcendent Douluo. Jing Hongchen, a rank 94 titled Douluo and a class 9 soul engineer. His fighting strength wasn't inferior to a transcendent Douluo. Dugu Bo, a rank 94 titled Douluo, was the best at group attacks. These were the 7 titled Douluo of the Dragon King Palace. With these 7 people, the Dragon King Palace was definitely one of the most powerful superpowers on the continent. With such power, Lu Yuan was naturally fearless. Why should I be afraid of the Star Luo royal family? I can come and go as I please. What can they do to me? Lu Yuan wasn't afraid at all. Furthermore, I won't have anything to do with creating soul tools in the future now that I've obtained Jing Hongchen. I can leave everything to him. Lu Yuan was overjoyed when he thought about how he could be freed from the bitter life of crafting soul tools. To be honest, crafting soul tools was very tiring. He had put in a lot of effort to craft soul tools for the 7 Treasures glazed sect. Now that he had a class 9 soul engineer like Jing Hongchen, he didn't have to craft soul tools himself anymore. In Lu Yuan's opinion, drawing Jing Hongchen made him even happier than drawing the Taotai Douluo. Right, system, where are they now? Lu Yuan glanced at Zhu Zhuqing, who was bathing inside. This was not a good place for them to appear. They will randomly appear within a 1-kilometer radius of the host. Now, they have sensed the host's aura and are rushing towards the Crescent Moon Hotel. The system's voice rang out. That's not bad. Looks like it's similar to Elder Long's situation. Fine, let them stay in the Crescent Moon Hotel first. We'll wait for Sister Xiaotao to return before we act together. Lu Yuan said softly. Lu Yuan glanced at Zhu Zhuqing before he left the room in a flash. After receiving Xian Zi and Jing Hongchen and arranging rooms for them, Lu Yuan quickly returned to his room. At this moment, Zhu Zhuqing had just finished bathing and was walking out of the bathroom. Zhu Zhuqing raised her eyebrows when she saw Lu Yuan's figure. She asked, "What bad things did you do this time?" Lu Yuan's mouth twitched when he heard her question. He said, "I'm not familiar with this place. What bad things can I do? I went out to receive 2 people earlier. They are 2 new titled Douluo." Zhu Zhuqing's eyes widened when she heard his words. Did she hear wrongly? 2 more new titled Douluo? Are you very surprised? Come over, I'll tell you slowly. Lu Yuan beckoned Zhu Zhuqing over and said softly. Zhu Zhuqing nodded when she heard his words. She sat down beside Lu Yuan. As she had just finished bathing, her hair was still wet. Lu Yuan took the towel from her hand. He introduced Zhu Zhuqing to the Taotai Douluo Xian Zi and Jing Hongchen as he helped her dry her hair. One day later, in the morning, the sun was rising and everything was coming to life. Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing also woke up. The 2 of them were eating breakfast in the dining room when Ma Xiaotao's fiery red figure suddenly appeared in front of them. Master, Ma Xiaotao has completed her mission. The Zither sect's disciples are already paying close attention to the Star Luo royal family. We will know immediately if anything happens. Very good. Sister Xiaotao, it's been hard on you. You haven't eaten breakfast yet, right? Sit down and eat with us. Lu Yuan pointed to a chair at the side and said gently. That's not very good. Ma Xiaotao was a little tempted. However, she felt a little embarrassed when she saw the 3 old men staring at them from another table. Then why don't you sit with Elder Long and Elder Xian? Lu Yuan asked with a smile. Then I'll sit with you, master. Ma Xiaotao instinctively chose to reject the offer when she thought about eating with Xian Zi, whose hair was messy and body was covered in grease. Little brother's place is better. It's clean and tidy. Furthermore, there are handsome men and beautiful women. It's very pleasing to the eye. It's much better than the 3 old men. Then why did you say so much? Lu Yuan glared at her. After that, he asked the waiter to bring another set of cutlery. Ma Xiaotao was obviously very hungry after rushing over so early in the morning. Lu Yuan and Xian Zi only ate a little bit of porridge. Ma Xiaotao finished everything on the table. Everyone should be done eating. If Elder Xian isn't full, ask someone to bring more for you to eat on the way. Lu Yuan looked around at everyone. Finally, his gaze stopped on Xian Zi. Xian Zi needed to eat frequently because of his godly Taotai bull martial soul. Hence, he always brought a lot of food with him. Lu Yuan naturally knew about this. This was also the reason why he always held a gourd in one hand and a drumstick in the other. Thank you for your concern, master. I've prepared myself. Xian Zi was obviously very happy to be greeted by Lu Yuan. He immediately replied, It's good that you've prepared yourself. We'll set off now. Lu Yuan said softly. Let's go, Zhuqing. Lu Yuan grabbed Zhu Zhuqing's hand and walked out of the hotel with her. Long Xiaoyao and the other 3 hurriedly followed. They followed Lu Yuan as they walked towards the Zhu family's residence. The Zhu family was the ruler of Senua City. Naturally, they lived in the best place in Senua City. Lu Yuan wasn't very familiar with Senua City. However, Zhu Zhuqing grew up here. Hence, she knew the place very well. Hence, Zhu Zhuqing led the way. After walking for about half an hour, they finally arrived outside the Duke of the Netherworld's mansion. The Duke's mansion was very big. Although it couldn't be compared to the palace, it wasn't small. After all, it was a duke, and the Netherworld family was connected to the Star Luo royal family through marriage. In the Xianra Empire, the Netherworld family's status was still very high. If the mansion wasn't big enough, it wouldn't be worthy of their status. Chapter 760. Returning to this place once again, Zhu Zhuqing could not help but feel a little emotional. Since she left this place at the age of 9 and went to the Life Remnant, it had been more than 5 years. This also meant that she had not returned for 5 years. Although this home was dark and cold, leaving her with very bad memories, no matter what, this was the place where she grew up. Zhu Zhuqing still had some feelings for this place. Especially her mother, the only person who had ever loved her. She missed her very much in her heart. Although her mother did not help much when she was attacked by her sister, Zhu Zhuqing did not blame her. This was because she knew that her mother cared about her very much. However, due to the ancestral rules, her mother could not do anything. Moreover, she and her sister were both her mother's daughters. They were both flesh and blood. Seeing her two daughters kill each other while she could not do anything, perhaps her mother's heart was also very painful. Zhu Zhuqing secretly thought in her heart. What's wrong, Zhuqing? Did you remember the past? Seeing Zhu Zhuqing in a daze as she stared at the door of the Duke's mansion, her expression constantly changing, Lu Yuan could not help but softly ask. Yes, but it doesn't matter. Those are all in the past. It's just that suddenly returning here made my heart a little uneasy. Seeing Lu Yuan's concerned expression, Zhu Zhuqing said with a slight smile. That smile was very gentle, causing Lu Yuan to involuntarily hold her lily-white hand tightly. No matter how you were in this family before, or how others bullied you, today I am here. I will support you. Everyone who bullied you will have to pay the price. From now on, I will not let you suffer the slightest grievance. Lu Yuan said with a firm tone. Oh Bu-chi. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes turned red. Her eyes were filled with deep emotions. Okay, you can't cry today. You have to smile and see how I vent your anger for you. Oh right, Zhuqing, if I beat your father up today, it won't matter, right? Suddenly remembering something, Lu Yuan asked Zhu Zhuqing. It won't matter. However, he is my father after all, so don't be too heavy-handed. Zhu Zhuqing said. Understood. I'll be merciful. Let's go. I want to see how your father is going to welcome me when he knows that I'm coming to visit. Lu Yuan smiled and took Zhu Zhuqing's hand as they walked towards the entrance of the Duke's mansion. Who are you? This is the Duke of Netherworld's mansion. No trespassing. Lu Yuan and the others were stopped by the guards as soon as they arrived at the gate. Who are you? You don't know her? Pointing at Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan said faintly. You are the second young miss? The guard asked in surprise as he looked at Zhu Zhuqing. It's me. Zhu Zhuqing said. Greetings, second miss. Hearing Zhu Zhuqing announce her identity, the guard immediately bowed. No need. Make way. We're going in, Zhu Zhuqing said. I'm sorry, second Mississippi. The Duke has ordered that second miss is not allowed to step into the Duke's mansion, so we can't let you in. Hearing Zhu Zhuqing's words, the guard shook his head and said softly. Oh, not letting you in? Zhuqing, it seems like this is your father's way of dealing with it. He knows that we're here to break off the engagement. However, it's obvious that if he agrees to break off the engagement, the Star Luo imperial family will be furious. If he doesn't agree to break off the engagement and doesn't let us be together, it'll be a humiliation to the Dragon King Palace. I'll definitely be angry. He doesn't want to see you, which means that he can't be bothered with our affairs. He also acquiesces to the fact that you're following me. So he doesn't want to offend either of us. He's really a wily old fox. Shaking his head, Lu Yuan said faintly. He's such a person. He looks cold and ruthless, but he's a little weak. He likes to be overcautious. He doesn't dare to touch the ancestral law and he doesn't dare to offend the Star Luo imperial family. Your Dragon King Palace is too powerful, so he's afraid that you'll cause trouble for him. So he doesn't want to let us in. This way, he doesn't have to be in a dilemma. Zhu Zhuqing said coldly. That's true. However, he doesn't want to cause trouble, so he doesn't want to let his daughter in. He's really a good father. Well, since I've already planned to use force before using force, I still have to use force. Lu Yuan sighed softly. Ignoring the guard's obstruction, he pulled Zhu Zhuqing and walked into the Duke's mansion. Second miss, please stop. Don't make things difficult for us. If you continue to move forward, don't blame us for offending you. The guards blocked in front of Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing, and the soul power in their bodies began to surge. It's none of your business. Make way. Looking at the guards blocking in front of him, Lu Yuan waved his sleeve casually. Suddenly, a huge force burst out and swept the guards in front of the door to the side. Immediately after, Lu Yuan and the others stepped into the Duke's mansion. Duke, it's not good. Second Miss has brought people to fight her way in. In the main hall of the Duke's mansion, the Duke of Netherworld, Zhu Junlin, his wife, and the others were all here. Hearing the guard's words, Zhu Junlin's eyes widened. He grabbed the guard and asked, "You said Zhu Qing brought people to fight her way in?" "Yes, Duke. I saw Second Miss with a young man. They wanted to barge into the mansion. According to your orders, we tried to stop them. However, that young man is too powerful. He just waved his hand casually and beat us into a mess. Now they are coming here. There are 4 people behind them." The guard's tone was a little panicked. "So, they still came?" Zhu Junlin pushed the guard away. His expression changed slightly. Originally, he didn't want to let Zhu Zhuqing enter the mansion. This was because no matter what he did, he would definitely offend someone. He would either offend the Xianra Empire or the Dragon King Palace. However, both parties were very powerful. The Star Luo imperial family was the ruler of the Xianra Empire. Needless to say, they were very powerful. On the other hand, the Dragon King Palace had many titled Douluo. They couldn't be provoked. In fact, it was quite difficult for him to be involved. However, this Dragon King Palace master is too overbearing. He actually dares to barge into the Duke's mansion. Thinking of this, Zhu Junlin couldn't help but frown. No matter what, he was still the Duke of the Xianra Empire. Lu Yuan actually didn't give him any face and barged in. If news of this spread, the Netherworld family would lose face. Zhu Junlin also cared about his reputation, okay? Could it be that he wanted others to say that the dignified Duke of Netherworld's mansion was actually attacked by his own daughter? It wouldn't be good if news of this spread. Chapter 761. Junlin, is Zhu Qing back? Hearing the conversation between Zhu Junlin and the guard, a beautiful woman standing beside Zhu Junlin couldn't help but ask with a trace of concern. She was Zhu Zhuqing's mother, Lin Xia. She was also the only person in this huge duke's mansion who still cared about Zhu Zhuqing. Since Zhu Zhuqing left at the age of 9, she hadn't returned for nearly 5 years. Lin Xia missed her very much. After all, Zhu Zhuqing was also her flesh and blood. Yes, not only did she come back, but she also brought the palace master of the Dragon King Palace in. What a good daughter. She's so bold. Zhu Junlin snorted coldly. He already knew about Lu Yuan's identity. After all, Lu Yuan's identity as the palace master of the Dragon King Palace was exposed in public. Such explosive news had already spread throughout the continent. Basically, all the leaders of the major forces knew about it. It couldn't be helped. The Dragon King Palace was too tyrannical now. Its strength was second only to the Martial Soul Palace. When the identity of the palace master of such a super force was exposed, it was impossible for the leaders of these forces not to pay attention. Originally, he was very angry that Zhu Zhuqing had run away from the marriage and followed another man. Especially when that man had crippled Davis, he was even more furious. After all, Davis was the person who had the best chance of becoming the crown prince. In this way, Zhu Zhuyun would be the crown princess and might even become the empress in the future. Once Zhu Zhuyun became the empress, the status of the Netherworld family would naturally be strengthened. How could he not be angry when Lu Yuan ruined all of this? However, when he knew about Lu Yuan's identity, his anger disappeared. After all, the palace master of the Dragon King Palace wasn't someone he could offend. Moreover, it was actually a good thing for the Zhu family that Zhu Zhuqing could follow him. At the very least, they would be related to the Dragon King Palace. They might even be able to use the name of the Dragon King Palace in the future. Therefore, he acquiesced to Zhu Zhuqing following Lu Yuan. As long as Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing did not come to the Duke of Netherworld's mansion to cause trouble, it would be fine. However, he didn't expect that this time, Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing would come to his door so openly. Moreover, when he didn't allow Zhu Zhuqing to enter, they directly barged in. This made Zhu Junlin a little annoyed. Zhu Qing has always been bold. The wild man she's with even dared to cripple Whis. What's the big deal about breaking in? As soon as Zhu Junlin finished speaking, Zhu Zhuyun's voice rang out. Her words were filled with resentment and jealousy. She resented the fact that Lu Yuan had crippled Davis, causing his status to plummet, and he no longer had any chance of inheriting the throne. As a result, even she had no chance of becoming the crown princess, causing her status to plummet. She was jealous that Zhu Zhuqing could find a man like Lu Yuan, the wife of the Dragon King Palace's lord. This status was not any lower than the empress of a country. Moreover, Lu Yuan loved and protected her so much. This made her even more jealous. Why could Zhu Zhuqing get so much? Not only did she not get the so-called love, but even the rights and status that belonged to her were also destroyed. Therefore, her heart was filled with resentment and anger. Shut up. Who are you to call a wild man? Do you want to bring disaster to our netherworld family? Upon hearing Zhu Zhuyun's words, Zhu Junlin raised his hand and slapped Zhu Zhuyun's face. Davis was crippled, and Zhu Zhuyun no longer had the status of the crown princess. Her presence in the netherworld family was much lower. These aristocratic families were like this. Once you lost your value, you wouldn't be able to enjoy any good treatment. In the past, Zhu Junlin had never slapped Zhu Zhuyun. However, today, he actually raised his hand and slapped her. Not only was there no familial affection in the imperial family, but even the netherworld family, which had been connected to the imperial family through marriage for generations, was similar. Well done. This woman deserves it. Lu Yuan's clear voice sounded as a group of guards was thrown to the ground. Zhu Junlin turned around and saw a young man in white holding the hand of a young lady in black. They were slowly walking towards him. Behind them were 3 men and a woman. Zhu Junlin recognized the black-clothed girl at a glance. Although he hadn't seen her for 5 years, how could Zhu Junlin not recognize his own daughter? Zhu Junlin's gaze shifted slightly to the young man in white. He saw that the young man's eyebrows were as sharp as swords, and his eyes were as bright as stars. He looked handsome, dignified, and had an extraordinary temperament. Even with his experience, he had to admit that this was the first time he had seen such an outstanding young man. It was no wonder that Zhu Zhuqing liked him. It wasn't just because of his status and strength. His appearance was also a great weapon. After hearing the voice, Zhu Zhuyun couldn't help but turn around. When she saw Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing holding hands, the resentment and jealousy in her heart intensified. Lu Yuan, this is the Duke of Netherworld's mansion. It's not a place you should be. Zhu Zhuyun said sternly as she looked at Lu Yuan. The Duke of Netherworld's mansion? So what? There's no place in this world that I can't go. I can even enter and leave the Star Luo Palace whenever I want. After hearing this, Lu Yuan laughed disdainfully. He looked at Zhu Zhuyun with a mocking smile. However, someone has just been slapped, and now she's acting up again? Oh right, I forgot to ask. How is Davis? We haven't seen each other for a long time since the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. I do miss him, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Lu Yuan, you crippled Davis, and now you're still pretending. You're really a bastard. Zhu Zhuyun couldn't help but point at Lu Yuan and scold him loudly. Shut up! Zhu Junlin shouted at Zhu Zhuyun and slapped her again. After being slapped again, Zhu Zhuyun immediately stopped talking. She didn't dare to scold him again, but the resentment in her eyes became even more intense. Zhu Junlin retracted his hand and looked at Lu Yuan again. This must be Hallmaster Lu Yuan from the Dragon King Hall. I've heard a lot about you. Oh, my identity has only been announced for a few months, and you've already heard a lot about me? Could it be that you've known my identity for a long time? Lu Yuan snorted and asked with a sneer. After hearing this, Zhu Junlin couldn't help but be stunned. The corner of his mouth twitched. He was just being polite. Could it be that Hallmaster Lu couldn't tell? Furthermore, his attitude doesn't seem to be friendly. He was the one who barged into the Duke of Netherworld's mansion and was in the wrong first. Why am I the one who has to be humble now? Zhu Junlin muttered to himself. Chapter 762. Are they still too weak? That should be the case. Zhu Junlin scanned the four people behind Lu Yuan. He had never heard of Xian Zi and Jing Hongqian, but Long Xiaoyao and Ma Xiaodao had shown their faces in the Continental Elite Soul Master Tournament. Long Xiaoyao was an ultimate Douluo and was very powerful. Many large organizations had their own understanding of the two of them. He quickly recognized Long Xiaoyao and Ma Xiaodao based on the information that he received. This meant that at least two of the four people behind Lu Yuan were titled Douluo. How could a soul Douluo like Zhu Junlin not be fearful in the face of such a lineup? In this era, strength was confidence. Even though Lu Yuan had forced his way in, Zhu Junlin still suppressed his anger because of the two titled Douluo behind Lu Yuan. His attitude was very gentle. Seeing that Zhu Junlin didn't say anything, Lu Yuan swept his gaze around. There was a beautiful middle-aged woman beside Zhu Junlin. She had taken good care of herself, and looked like she was in her 30s. Right now, she was looking in their direction. When she looked at Zhu Zhuqing, there was a tinge of excitement and concern in her eyes. When he saw this scene, Lu Yuan's heart skipped a beat. He nodded at this beautiful woman in a friendly manner. If he wasn't wrong, this beautiful woman should be Zhu Zhuqing's mother. She was the only person in the entire Netherworld family who had doted on Zhu Zhuqing. Hui Yuhao naturally had to respect Zhu Zhuqing's mother, who doted on her. When she saw Lu Yuan nod at her, Lin Xie was stunned. After that, she reacted and smiled at Lu Yuan. Her beautiful eyes looked at Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing's tightly clasped hands, and then looked at the passionate affection in Zhu Zhuqing's eyes when she looked at Lu Yuan. She couldn't help but feel a little gratified. It seemed that Zhu Zhuqing had really found a man that she loved and loved her. This was great. Her daughter had finally escaped her fate as a member of the Netherworld family. Furthermore, Lu Yuan was the Hallmaster of the Dragon King Hall. He was powerful and influential. Zhu Zhuqing wouldn't have to suffer if she followed him. Lin Xie thought to herself. After nodding at Lin Xie, Lu Yuan continued to look around. Suddenly, a resentful gaze caught his attention. The owner of the gaze was Zhu Zhuyun. After pausing for a moment, Lu Yuan looked away. He couldn't be bothered to pay attention to Zhu Zhuyun now. Without Davis, she was basically useless. He didn't care if she resented him. As long as she didn't come looking for trouble, Lu Yuan wouldn't bother with her since she was Zhu Zhuqing's sister. After looking around, his gaze finally returned to Zhu Junlin's body. What brings Palace Master Lu here today? Moreover, isn't it a little inappropriate for Hall Master Lu to directly barge into my duke's mansion? After being mocked by Lu Yuan, Zhu Junlin suppressed the anger in his heart and looked at Lu Yuan as he asked in a serious tone. However, although he was suppressing his anger, he was not in a good mood, so his tone was inevitably a little stiff. Don't you know why I'm here, Grand Duke Netherworld? Weren't you the one who ordered the guards outside not to let Zhuqing in? Now you're asking me why I barged in? If you didn't let Zhuqing in, would we have barged in? Haha, Grand Duke Netherworld, you're really a good father to not let your own daughter in, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Hearing this, Zhu Junlin fell silent. Looking at the silent Zhu Junlin, Lu Yuan smiled coldly and continued, My purpose for coming here is very simple. Zhuqing and Dai Mubai have a so-called engagement, right? The first thing is to break off the engagement. Since Dai Mubai is gone now, it shouldn't be difficult to do this. It's just to make the Xianra Empire lose some face. The second thing is to marry. I promised Zhu Qing that I would officially settle our matter in front of her mother. I can't go back on my words, so this time, I'll have to ask Auntie to be a notary for us. Lu Yuan looked at Lin Xie. Hearing this, Lin Xie smiled and was about to nod when Zhu Junlin suddenly glanced at her. She couldn't help but stop. Immediately after, Zhu Junlin's gaze shifted back to Lu Yuan, and he stared intently at him. I'm afraid I can't agree to Temple Master Lu's request. I don't object to you and Zhu Qing being together, but breaking off the engagement is not feasible. This will offend the dignity of the Star Luo imperial family. Once I agree, the Star Luo imperial family will definitely cause trouble for the Netherworld family. Temple Master Lu, your Dragon King Palace isn't afraid of the Star Luo imperial family, but we aren't. So, don't mention breaking off the engagement again. Zhu Junlin said seriously. In the end, he still didn't dare to agree to break off the engagement. He was afraid that the Star Luo imperial family would cause trouble for them, but he was also afraid of offending Lu Yuan. So, from the beginning, he said that he didn't object to Lu Yuan and Zhu Qing being together. He still didn't want to offend either side, but it was obvious that Lu Yuan couldn't accept such an outcome. Grand Duke Netherworld, have you misunderstood something? I wasn't discussing it with you just now. I was just informing you. Whether you agree or not, both the engagement and the marriage have to be completed. Otherwise, I can't guarantee what I'll do. Anyway, Zhu Qing has suffered a lot in this family since she was young. I'm here to avenge her. If you don't agree, I'll have a reason to make a move. Lu Yuan said coldly. After that, he snapped his fingers. As he snapped his fingers, Long Xiaoyao and the other 3 people behind him released their martial souls at the same time. 4 titled Douluo released their martial souls at the same time. Their powerful auras engulfed the entire place, especially Long Xiaoyao and Xian Zi. One of them was a rank 99 Ultimate Douluo, while the other was a rank 98 Pinnacle Douluo. When they released their auras, the air seemed to freeze. Their auras bypassed Lu Yuan and Zhu Qing in front of them, and directly pressed down on the other side. Zhu Junlin and the others immediately turned red. They even had difficulty breathing. Furthermore, what shocked him the most was that the 4 of them all had legendary 100,000-year soul rings. Long Xiaoyao even had 2. This caused everyone on Zhu Junlin's side to tremble. How is this possible? Zhu Zhuyun was pressed to the ground. As she looked at the 4 titled Douluo behind Lu Yuan, her eyes were filled with astonishment. How could the Dragon King Hall have so many titled Douluo with 100,000-year soul rings? It was important to know that a titled Douluo with a 100,000-year soul ring was much stronger than an ordinary titled Douluo. If they were of the same rank, it wasn't impossible for them to fight 2 titled Douluo at once. How could the Dragon King Palace be so powerful? Lu Yuan naturally ignored Zhu Zhuyun. In a flash, he grabbed Lin Xie's shoulder and brought her to Zhu Zhuqing's side. After all, she was Zhu Zhuqing's mother, and his mother-in-law. He couldn't let her be suppressed like this. As for the others, it was better to suppress them for a longer time. Chapter 763. Mother! Seeing Lin Xie, Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but cry out, her eyes turning red. After 5 years, seeing her mother again, she couldn't help but feel a little emotional. Zhu Qing. Lin Xie was brought over by Lu Yuan. Just as she regained her senses, she saw her daughter calling out to her softly with red eyes. She couldn't help but call out to her as well. She hadn't seen Zhu Zhuqing for 5 years, and she missed her dearly. Mother! Zhu Zhuqing called out again, and then threw herself into Lin Xie's arms. Lin Xie also hugged Zhu Zhuqing, and the mother and daughter hugged each other tightly. Zhu Qing, are you doing well? After hugging for a while, Lin Xie gently released Zhu Zhuqing, and asked in a low voice. I'm doing very well. Lu Yuan loves me a lot and he dotes on me a lot. I'm living a very happy life now. Zhu Zhuqing said with a smile with tears in her eyes. It's good that you're living a happy life. Child, why are you crying? Lin Xia said as she raised her hand and gently wiped the tears from the corner of Zhu Zhuqing's eyes. Mother, I'm happy. I'm really happy to see you again. Zhu Zhuqing said softly. Silly child, Mother is also very happy to see you. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing's appearance, Lin Xia's eyes flashed with a doting light, and she gently rubbed Zhu Zhuqing's head. Zhu Zhuqing's charming face was full of smiles, and she enjoyed Lin Xia's closeness. She hadn't experienced this kind of motherly love for a long time. On the other side, Lu Yuan smiled as he watched this scene of deep affection between mother and daughter. This was the first time he saw Zhu Zhuqing like this. It seemed that Zhu Zhuqing was really attached to her mother. But thinking about it, Zhu Zhuqing grew up in this duke's mansion, which was devoid of human emotions. Aside from her mother's love for her, the rest was ruthless and cold. Under such circumstances, she would naturally remember the only mother who loved her deeply in her heart. It must have been hard on Zhu Qing. She was born into such a family, yet she still has such a kind heart. It's really commendable, Lu Yuan muttered. Thinking of the first time he met Zhu Zhuqing, Lu Yuan couldn't help but smile. At that time, Zhu Zhuqing was almost exhausted from being chased by the blood-winged golden mosquitoes, but when she met him, she still didn't choose to lead the blood-winged golden mosquitoes in his direction. It was also because of her kindness that Lu Yuan chose to help. Of course, Lu Yuan would not deny that her beauty was also a very important factor. However, the main reason was her kindness. If it was someone else who chose to cause trouble, no matter how beautiful she was, Lu Yuan would have sent her on her way. He would never show mercy to those who schemed against him. After taking another look at the two of them, Lu Yuan turned around slightly and looked at the other side. Zhu Junlin and the others couldn't withstand the pressure of the four titled Douluo's auras, especially Long Xiaoyao's and Xian Zi's frightening auras. Some of them were kneeling, while others were prostrating. Even Zhu Junlin, who was a soul Douluo, was already kneeling on one knee. This was the result of Long Xiaoyao and Xian Zi being merciful. Otherwise, even an ordinary titled Douluo would have to kneel if they unleashed their full auras. Even a soul Douluo could only prostrate. After all, no matter how bad Zhu Junlin was, he was still Zhu Zhuqing's father. It was a little inappropriate for him to prostrate on the ground. Although Zhu Junlin wasn't much, they still had to give face to Zhu Zhuqing. Lu Yuan placed his hands behind his back and took light steps forward. He walked in front of Zhu Junlin and looked down at him. His abilities were already comparable to a transcendent Douluo. Long Xiaoyao and Xian Zi's auras bypassed him. Even if they didn't, he would still be able to move freely when they didn't unleash their full auras. How is it, Grand Duke of the Netherworld? Have you made your decision? Do you agree to the two things that I've mentioned? You have to think carefully. If you agree and anger the Star Luo royal family, you'll only be punished by Dai Tianfeng, but you won't be hurt. This is because your two families have been connected by marriage for generations, and you have the Netherworld White Tiger's martial soul fusion skill. The White Tiger family can't do without you. Therefore, even if you want to cause trouble, it's just a small matter. However, I'm different. If you offend the Dragon King Palace, you'll die right now. If I'm in a bad mood, your Netherworld Duke's mansion might be razed to the ground today. The entire Netherworld family might become history. Oh yes, don't expect Zhu Qing to plead for you. I'm sure you know how you've treated her. The only person she cares about is Auntie. After all of you are dead, I can bring Auntie to the Dragon King Palace to enjoy life. Zhu Qing can also spend time with her every day. Thinking about it this way, it's not a bad idea. Lu Yuan lifted his right hand and rubbed his chin. He seemed to be deep in thought as he spoke. Zhu Junlin was speechless. However, on account of the fact that all of you are related to Zhu Qing, I'm willing to give you 3 minutes to think about it, even though I'm tempted by your idea just now. Do as you see fit. Whether the Zhu family lives or dies depends on your decision. Lu Yuan said coldly as he stared at Zhu Junlin. 3 minutes later, Lu Yuan couldn't help but sigh when he saw Zhu Junlin's hesitant and conflicted expression. Sigh, it seems like you won't agree to it no matter what. Forget it. Elder Long, Elder Xian, prepare to act. Be careful when you kill them. Don't make it too bloody. Lu Yuan waved his hand and turned to leave as he spoke. Yes, my lord. After Lu Yuan finished speaking, Long Xiaoyao and Zhu Junlin's aura soared. A formless killing intent was released from their bodies. It was this killing intent that made Zhu Junlin's hair stand on end. He didn't expect Lu Yuan to be telling the truth. He was really going to kill them. Zhu Qing, Lu Yuan isn't really going to do it, is he? Lin Xie was also anxious. She originally thought that Lu Yuan was only joking and was only trying to scare Zhu Junlin. However, it seemed like he was really going to kill them now. He really wanted to raze the Zhu family to the ground. Mother, don't worry. Obuchi knows what he's doing. Zhu Zhuqing said softly to Lin Xie. She wasn't worried about Lu Yuan's current actions. That was because Lu Yuan had promised her that he wouldn't kill them. She believed that Lu Yuan would keep his promise. That was because Lu Yuan was very reliable in other areas, except when it came to matters related to women. He had never gone back on his word. Furthermore, Lu Yuan had said that he wanted to use force before he entered the house. This should be the case now. Chapter 764. He wants to force the Zhu family into a corner. Only then will they agree to these two things obediently. Otherwise, they will always think that they're lucky. Furthermore, Lu Yuan said that he wants to avenge me. This should be part of the reason why he's doing this. Zhu Zhuqing thought to herself. Zhu Zhuqing had to admit that she understood Lu Yuan very well. After all, from Shrek Academy, to the Dragon King Palace, and then to the Martial Soul Hall, it could be said that wherever Lu Yuan went, he would bring Zhu Zhuqing along. Zhu Zhuqing had accompanied him for the longest time among all the ladies, if Hulina and Lu Yuan didn't share a bed for 3 years. It was also because of this that Zhu Zhuqing knew a thing or two about Lu Yuan's way of doing things. For example, this time, she could tell that Lu Yuan was trying to do this. Really? I don't think he's joking. This killing intent can't be fake. Lin Xie exclaimed. If I don't make it more realistic, how will father and the rest believe me? Zhu Zhuqing said softly. That's true. Your father is very suspicious and indecisive. It's difficult to make him make a decision without forcing him into a corner. Lin Xie nodded when she heard this. She was very clear about what kind of person her husband was. If Lu Yuan didn't make it more realistic, he really wouldn't believe him. Lin Xie was slightly relieved when she heard this. It was fine as long as he didn't really raze the Duke of Netherworld's mansion to the ground. Zhu Qing had indeed suffered a lot. This so-called ancestral rule had also caused the women of the Netherworld family to suffer. Every generation of them had to kill each other. Now that Lu Yuan wanted to avenge Zhu Zhuqing, let him do it. Even she hated this so-called rule. After all, no mother was willing to see her daughters kill each other. How could she feel good after seeing Zhu Zhuyun assassinate Zhu Zhuqing so many times? Her suffering was not any less than Zhu Zhuqing's. On the other side, Lu Yuan turned around and was about to leave after he finished speaking. Long Xiaoyao and Xian Zi's eyes flickered with cold killing intent behind his back. It seemed like they would start a massacre once Lu Yuan left. That terrifying killing intent caused Zhu Junlin to feel as though he had fallen into an ice cave, and his entire body turned ice cold. Zhu Junlin looked at Zhu Zhuqing, who was not far away. She had a calm expression and was chatting with Lin Xie, as if she really did not care about the life and death of the entire Duke of Netherworld's mansion. Zhu Junlin sighed. This time, he had really given up. In order to prevent the Duke's mansion from being destroyed, I don't care if I offend the Star Luo imperial family. My life is the most important thing right now. Take care, Palace Master Lu. Seeing that Lu Yuan was about to turn around and leave, the two murderers behind him were ready to kill. Zhu Junlin hurriedly called out to Lu Yuan. However, Lu Yuan did not pay any attention to him. Instead, he continued to turn around and walk forward. Palace Master Lu, I agree to your two requests. Seeing that Lu Yuan did not seem to care about his words, Zhu Junlin couldn't help but shout again. This time, Lu Yuan stopped in his tracks. He turned around and looked at Zhu Junlin. He asked, Duke of Netherworld, what did you say just now? I didn't hear you clearly. Seeing that Lu Yuan had finally turned around, Zhu Junlin heaved a sigh of relief. He was under the threat of death right now, so he couldn't care too much. When he heard Lu Yuan's question, he hurriedly answered, I said, I agree to both of your requests. He seemed to be worried that Lu Yuan still couldn't hear him clearly, so he deliberately raised his voice. Why did you agree again? I was planning to wipe this place clean. Lu Yuan blinked his eyes and said with a regretful expression. It was as if Zhu Junlin agreeing to his request and not killing anyone was a very regretful thing. Zhu Junlin's mouth twitched when he heard that. He cursed in his heart this murderous god. However, although he cursed in his heart, he did not show it at all on the surface. He was afraid that Lu Yuan would suddenly have a screw loose and want to kill people again. So be it. Sigh, you're lucky. Speaking of which, I really haven't killed anyone in a long time. Lu Yuan smacked his lips as if he missed the fact that he hadn't killed anyone in a long time. Hearing this, Zhu Zhuqing, who was not far away, couldn't help but secretly laugh. This bad guy, one set after another. He wanted to completely bury his bloodthirsty image in Zhu Junlin's heart, so as to better intimidate Zhu Junlin. As expected, Zhu Junlin's eyelids twitched when he heard Lu Yuan's words. He looked at Lu Yuan with a gaze that was filled with fear once again. Lu Yuan paused for a moment, and then he looked at Zhu Junlin once more and said, Since Grand Duke Netherhell has agreed to these two things, then when do you intend to start? Feeling Lu Yuan's burning gaze, Zhu Junlin hurriedly said, I'll do it today. I'll immediately send someone to announce the annulment of the engagement to the Star Luo royal family. At the same time, I'll spread the news of the annulment and let the entire Xianra Empire know. At the same time, Xia and I will be witnesses for the marriage between Palace Master Lu and Zhuqing so that you can settle the marriage. Of course, I will also announce this matter to the public. What do you think, Hall Master Lu? It sounds pretty good, but I didn't force you to do this. You should know how to tell others, right? Lu Yuan's eyes flickered as he asked. Hall Master Lu didn't force me. I did all of this voluntarily. I saw that Zhuqing and Hall Master Lu were too compatible, so I took the initiative to suggest it. Zhu Junlin spoke against his will. In order to save his life, he was really going all out. He didn't even blink when he spoke lies. Haha, not bad. You're really considerate, Hall Master Nether. How could I be someone who coerces others? I'm a person who likes to convince people with reason the most. I've never done things like coercing others. Lu Yuan said with a smile. That's right, that's right. Zhu Junlin nodded as he madly complained in his heart. You're indeed convincing people with reason. It's just that you're holding a knife to their necks. Others use their mouths to reason, but you're directly using your knife to reason. This guy is still so shameless. Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but smile when she heard Lu Yuan's words. He was clearly forcing others to agree, and if they didn't agree, they would die. In the end, he still had the face to say that he was convincing people with reason. In the entire world, she had only seen Lu Yuan with such thick skin. Moreover, her father was the same. In order to survive, he was really willing to say anything. Hall Master Nether was really something. Zhu Zhuqing couldn't help but sneer in her heart. Chapter 765. Just as Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing had expected before they came, Zhu Junlin was a cruel and heartless person, but he had a weak personality. Once he was pressured, his first reaction was to give in. Under the pressure of the four titled Douluo behind Lu Yuan, his only choice was to agree to break off the engagement. One option was that he would be punished by the Star Luo royal family in the future, but it wouldn't be fatal. On the other hand, the Netherworld family would be massacred by the four titled Douluo, and the entire Netherworld family would be uprooted. Even a strong-willed person would choose to give in as long as they weren't brain-damaged, let alone someone like Zhu Junlin, who was facing such a situation. Even though Zhu Junlin's actions were a little too submissive, this was the rule of this world. The strong were respected, and the weak didn't have the right to speak. The strong preyed on the weak. Although Zhu Zhuqing looked down on her father's change of attitude, she couldn't blame him. Zhu Junlin wasn't just doing this for his own life. He was doing this for the sake of the entire Netherworld family. His choice wasn't wrong. After all, Zhu Zhuqing knew that Lu Yuan was only trying to scare them, but Zhu Junlin didn't know that. After hearing Zhu Junlin's words, Lu Yuan turned around and gave Zhu Zhuqing a look. A smile flashed across his eyes. Zhu Zhuqing also smiled and nodded gently at Lu Yuan. No matter what, at this point, they had finally achieved the purpose of their visit. Furthermore, Lu Yuan had helped her suppress the entire Netherworld Duke's mansion. The gloominess in Zhu Zhuqing's heart had completely disappeared. Even though her childhood memories were cold and unpleasant, she was very happy right now. At least there was someone who was willing to pamper her and love her. When someone bullied her, he would stand up for her. When she was in trouble, he would help her resolve it. With him around, everything in her life was colorful. "It's good to have met you," Zhu Zhuqing muttered softly as she stared at Lu Yuan. Lu Yuan smiled at Zhu Zhuqing and snapped his fingers once again. Long Xiaoyao and the others immediately retracted their auras and withdrew their martial souls. The four withdrew their auras, and the invisible pressure that was suppressing Zhu Junlin and the others finally dissipated. The pressure suddenly dissipated. Zhu Junlin's body first trembled, then slowly returned to normal and stood up from the ground. Looking at Lu Yuan in front of him, he couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. In his heart, in just a short while, their entire Duke Netherworld's mansion had taken a trip to the edge of life and death. His heart was truly extremely complicated. He was the Grand Duke of the Xian'an Empire, one of the three great clans. His status was only second to the Star Luo Empire's imperial family, and his status was extremely illustrious. But what was the use? In the hands of a true expert, one was still as powerless as grass. If the other party wanted to kill you, you could only stretch out your neck and wait to be killed. You didn't even have the ability to resist. So what if he was the emperor of a country? He still had to be polite to the Pope of the Martial Soul Palace. This was the importance of strength. While authority and status were important, the most important thing was still strength. Wasn't Lu Yuan in front of him the same? He had so many titled Douluo under him, and he could kill anyone he wanted without any scruples. This was the confidence that came with strength. Grand Duke of the Netherworld, don't forget what you said. Let's begin now. Lu Yuan turned to Zhu Junlin and said plainly, "Don't worry, Hallmaster Lu. I'll naturally do what I said. I'll immediately write a letter and send it to the Star Luo Empire's imperial family to unilaterally cancel the engagement." Zhu Junlin said. After being frightened by Lu Yuan, he had already learned to be obedient. Furthermore, in his heart, Lu Yuan was a killing god. Once he lost his temper, he would kill. Since he couldn't afford to offend him, he could only give in. "You're the boss. You're the best. Very good. Since we're canceling the engagement today, let's postpone it to tomorrow. I'm not in a hurry." Lu Yuan smiled and said softly. Hearing this, the corner of Zhu Junlin's mouth twitched. Canceling the engagement today and marrying tomorrow. How was he not in a hurry? However, he didn't dare to refute Lu Yuan's words. He could only nod and agree. All right, then that's all for today. Zhu Qing and I will go back first. We'll come again tomorrow. Lu Yuan smiled and said, Come again tomorrow? Hall Master Lu, since you and Zhu Qing are getting married tomorrow, why don't you stay in the Duke's mansion today? It'll save you the trouble of running around. After hearing Lu Yuan's words, Lin Xie immediately said. After speaking, she glanced at Zhu Junlin. Although Zhu Junlin was unwilling, his wife had already spoken. He could only brace himself and greet them. He didn't dare to chase them away now. Hearing this, Lu Yuan hesitated slightly and didn't say anything. Seeing Lu Yuan's hesitation, Lin Xie added, Hall Master Lu, Zhu Qing and I haven't seen each other for a long time. Why don't you stay so that I can talk to Zhu Qing for a while? This. Hearing Lin Xie's words, Lu Yuan glanced at Zhu Qing. Seeing her expectant eyes, Lu Yuan sighed and nodded. Then I'll have to trouble Auntie. No trouble at all, Lin Xie said softly with a smile on her face. Zhu Qing, is this your room back then? Lu Yuan asked softly as he looked at the tidy room in front of him. Yes. After I left home, I haven't been back for 5 years. I didn't expect this place to be so clean. I think Mother must have ordered people to clean it often. Zhu Qing said. Auntie? Auntie's care for you is not fake. Thinking of how Lin Xie looked at Zhu Qing, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Yes, Mother loves me very much. When I was young, she was the only one who loved me. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Qing couldn't help but nod and say softly. Now, she's not the only one who loves you. There's also me. I'll love you very much too. Lu Yuan said softly as he gently held Zhu Qing's waist. Hearing this, Zhu Qing smiled sweetly and leaned into Lu Yuan's embrace. She was very happy to finally see her mother today. Moreover, after Lu Yuan helped her vent her anger, the gloom in her heart had completely dissipated. Moreover, her engagement with Dai Mubai had also completely disappeared today. At this moment, she was unprecedentedly relaxed and had broken free from all restraints. Today, she often had a smile on her face. Her original coldness had disappeared. Without that coldness, Zhu Qing was actually exceptionally obedient and cute. Especially the smile on her face, it was so sweet that it reached Lu Yuan's heart. This kind of Zhu Qing was really lovable. Chapter 766. Zhu Qing, what kind of person do you think Auntie is? Lu Yuan softly asked as he gently hugged Zhu Qing. Mother? She's a very nice person. She's kind-hearted, amiable, considerate, and reasonable. Stop. Hearing Zhu Qing's string of adjectives, Lu Yuan quickly shouted to stop. What's wrong, Obuchi? Am I wrong? Seeing Lu Yuan shout to stop, Zhu Qing looked at Lu Yuan with some dissatisfaction. Her mother was such a good person. Could it be that Lu Yuan had a different opinion? Seeing the dissatisfaction on Zhu Qing's face, Lu Yuan bitterly smiled. It seemed that Lin Xie was really a perfect person in Zhu Qing's heart. Obuchi, what are you bitterly smiling for? Answer me. Is there anything wrong with what I said? Do you not agree? Zhu Qing asked. No, I agree. Auntie is indeed a very good person. I don't know about others, but she is definitely very good to you. I think your personality might be partly influenced by Auntie, right? Zhu Qing, Lu Yuan softly asked. Hearing this, Zhu Qing nodded. Her cold appearance was formed from staying in a dark environment since she was young, but her kindness and stubbornness were learned from Lin Xie. After all, Lin Xie was her mother and the only person who loved her since she was young. Naturally, she would unconsciously rely on Lin Xie and imitate and learn Lin Xie's characteristic. Over time, she developed her unique personality. But since you agree, why did you interrupt me just now? Looking at Lu Yuan, Zhu Zhuqing was somewhat puzzled. Lu Yuan smiled and said, I interrupted you not because I think Auntie is not a good person, but because I want to talk about something else. What is it? Zhu Zhuqing asked. Zhuqing, don't you think Auntie is actually a very smart woman? She is much more intelligent than your father, Lu Yuan gently said. Why do you say that? There was a trace of doubt in Zhu Zhuqing's eyes. Why did Lu Yuan suddenly say that? Oh, it seems like you still haven't realized it. Fine, I'll explain it to you slowly. Lu Yuan said slowly as he held Zhu Zhuqing. Xie, why didn't you make that brat Lu Yuan stay today? Do you know that my scalp goes numb whenever I see him? That brat is a true god of death. Zhu Junlin looked at Lin Xie in a room in the Duke's mansion. His eyes were full of doubt, as if he did not understand why Lin Xie would do such a thing. Look at you. You're scared to this extent? Lin Xie drank her tea and couldn't help but glare at Zhu Junlin. There was a trace of mockery in her tone. Scared by someone? Xie, I almost lost my life today. You don't know how terrifying the auras of those two titled Douluo were, and how intense their killing intent was. How could I not be afraid? This brat really dared to kill. He didn't look like he was lying. Zhu Junlin immediately retorted after hearing Lin Xie's words. He was just scaring you. With Zhu Qing around, he couldn't do anything to you no matter what. However, this brat's acting was indeed very realistic. I was a little shocked at that time. It's no wonder you were deceived. Lin Xie said. What? You're saying that he was deceiving me? That he was deliberately scaring me? Then why didn't you say it during the day? Zhu Junlin questioned. What's the point of saying it? Lu Yuan has made up his mind to break off the engagement. No matter how much you struggle, you have to accept it in the end. That's because the Dragon King's palace is strong, and our Duke's mansion is weak. Furthermore, he really likes Zhu Qing, and Zhu Qing likes him too. Zhu Qing can at least find her own happiness if she follows him. Lin Xie said plainly. You're right. Hearing this, Zhu Junlin sighed softly. If Lu Yuan wanted to break off the engagement, with the powerful force behind him, even if they didn't agree now, they would agree one day. There was no room for rejection. Then why did you keep him? Zhu Junlin asked again. Stupid. Since you've already agreed to break off the engagement, why don't you seize the opportunity to build a good relationship with your future son-in-law? This is the Dragon King's palace. It's a soul master force on the continent that's second only to the Martial Soul Palace. They have at least 6 titled Douluo, and there's even an ultimate Douluo like the Dragon Emperor Douluo. With the help of the Dragon King's palace, won't our Zhu family's reputation be greatly boosted? We're already one of the 3 great families of the Star Luo Empire. We have great political and military power. However, we don't have much status in the world of Soul Masters. Now that we've become in-laws with the Dragon King's palace, we'll have the opportunity to increase our influence in the world of Soul Masters. Other things aside, with the support of the Dragon King's palace, who in the Xianra Empire will dare to provoke our Zhu family? Other things aside, let's just talk about the other 2 great families. Will they dare to be enemies with our Zhu family? Of course not. But what about the imperial family of the Star Luo Empire? Zhu Junlin was still a little worried. We don't have to worry about the imperial family of the Star Luo Empire. Look at Lu Yuan's extravagance. He brought 4 powerful titled Douluo with him. Do you think he's just pressuring you? Lin Xie rolled her eyes at Zhu Junlin. Her tone was indifferent. Are you saying that Lu Yuan is already prepared to deal with the imperial family of the Star Luo Empire? Zhu Junlin was a little surprised. Of course. According to my observations today, this kid is an extremely smart person. He likes to plan before acting. He must have made sufficient preparations. The imperial family of the Star Luo Empire can't do anything to him. Once the imperial family of the Star Luo Empire suffers, they'll naturally be obedient. Furthermore, just as Lu Yuan said, the imperial family of the Star Luo Empire won't do anything to us because of the Netherworld White Tiger. They can't leave us at all. At most, they'll criticize us and punish us casually. Such insignificant punishments can be exchanged for a connection with the Dragon King Hall. Do you think it's worth it? Lin Xie asked. Of course it's worth it, Zhu Junlin said. So, this is one of the reasons why I let him stay. It's to build a better relationship with Lu Yuan. Let's not talk about other things. At least let him call you father-in-law. Lin Xie said. Call me father-in-law? I'm afraid that's a little difficult. That kid's attitude towards me is very bad, Zhu Junlin said. You asked for this. Who asked you to ignore Zhu Qing in the past and let her suffer? The Netherworld family's damned ancestral law is simply bullshit. It caused my 2 daughters to kill each other. As a mother, I'm also very tormented. I can only watch helplessly. Chapter 767. Lin Xie cursed in a low voice. Hearing this, Zhu Junlin fell silent. This ancestral method had been passed down for thousands of years and was deeply rooted. Even he could not change it. If he wanted to change this, he would have to change the inheritance method of the Star Luo imperial family. It was because of the marriage alliance that the Netherworld family had this rule. In the Star Luo imperial family, if the princes wanted to ascend to the throne, they had to step on the bones of their brothers. Similarly, this relationship also affected the Netherworld family that they were connected to through marriage. For example, Zhu Zhuyun and Zhu Zhuqing. Did Zhu Zhuyun really want to kill Zhu Zhuqing for no reason? In fact, she didn't. She was eliminating her own threat. Zhu Zhuqing and Dai Mubai were engaged, and Dai Mubai was Davis's competitor. Therefore, Zhu Zhuyun acted. If it weren't for this relationship, Zhu Zhuyun wouldn't be so crazy as to make a move on her own sister. After all, there was no such thing as love or hatred for no reason in this world. As long as it was a normal person, no one would kill someone who had no enmity with them for no reason, let alone assassinate their own sister for no reason. Zhu Zhuyun did all this for the sake of survival and power. This was a product of this abnormal inheritance system. After a moment of silence, Zhu Junlin recalled Lin Xie's words and couldn't help but ask, Then what's the other reason you left them behind? The other reason is as I said. Zhu Qing and I haven't seen each other for more than 5 years. I really miss her and want to get closer to her. Otherwise, with Lu Yuan's shrewdness, do you think I can fool him if I tell a lie? I'm just revealing my true feelings, Lin Xie said softly. Hearing Lin Xie's words, Zhu Junlin once again became silent. Although he was ruthless, it did not mean that he did not have any feelings for Zhu Zhuqing. After all, Zhu Zhuqing was his daughter. There was some affection, even though it was not very strong. If you want to ride on the coattails of the Dragon King Palace, then treat Zhuqing better. Lu Yuan loves Zhuqing very much. If you treat Zhuqing well, it will be more useful than if you flatter him. Moreover, the engagement banquet should be more lively and grand. Invite more people. Presumably, there will be a lot of people who know the Lord of the Dragon King Palace. After all, the imperial family of Star Luo will not make things difficult for the guests. Dai Tianfeng is not a fool, Lin Xie said. What you said makes sense. I will arrange it. Hearing Lin Xie's words, Zhu Junlin nodded and said, What about that girl, Zhu Yun? What should we do? That girl hates Lu Yuan to the bone. After all, Lu Yuan crippled Davis. She doesn't get along with Lu Yuan and Zhu Qing. Since we want to mend our relationship with Lu Yuan, why don't we let Zhu Yun leave the mansion and stay with Davis for a while? Zhu Junlin casually suggested. You still want to send Zhu Yun to Davis? Don't you know that Davis is already crippled? Do you want Zhu Yun to follow a useless person for the rest of her life? Hearing Zhu Junlin's words, Lin Xie could not help but question. Then what should we do? Zhu Yun has angered Lu Yuan. If she stays in the Duke's mansion, I'm afraid it will be a bad influence. Zhu Junlin said. I will deal with this. I will take Zhu Yun to apologize to Zhu Qing. As long as Zhu Qing nods her head and forgives her, Lu Yuan will naturally not pursue it. Zhu Qing is a kind child. As long as Zhu Yun apologizes, Zhu Qing will easily forgive her. Lin Xie said. But do you think Zhu Yun will be willing to apologize? Zhu Junlin asked. She has to be willing even if she doesn't want to. I am doing this for her own good. Lin Xie said faintly. Is my mother really as scheming as you said? Zhu Qing looked at Lu Yuan with faint doubt in her big eyes. According to Lu Yuan's words, he suspected that her father would listen to her mother's opinion when facing major issues. This really surprised her. Was her mother that powerful? Of course, I won't be wrong. Your mother is actually a strong woman. Your father really has to listen to her on some matters. She is very opinionated. Today, when she heard that I wanted her to witness our marriage, her eyes were full of joy and excitement. She was not just happy for you, but also excited for the relationship between the Zhu family and our Dragon King Palace. After all, if you only married me in private, you wouldn't have much to do with the Zhu family, and the Zhu family wouldn't be able to get along with me. But once she witnesses our marriage, the relationship between our Dragon King Palace and the Zhu family will be inseparable. Of course, this is not a bad thing. If we unite, it will be beneficial for both sides. With the help of our Dragon King Palace, the Zhu family's prestige and status will rise. At the same time, if we establish a relationship with the Zhu family, it will be beneficial for our Martial Soul Palace to unify Star Luo in the future. At the very least, it will be much easier to conquer Star Luo with someone working from the inside. Lu Yuan said with a chuckle. That's true, but I still feel uncomfortable. Zhu Qing said. You think that your mother is not only concerned about you, but also mixed in a conflict of interest. That's why you feel bad, right? Lu Yuan asked. Hearing this, Zhu Qing nodded. Silly girl, you are really simple. I always thought that Rong Rong was simple, but I didn't expect you to be so simple in the aspect of emotions. The adult world is not so simple. Of course, feelings are not fake, but interests are more important. For two forces, friendship alone is not enough to maintain a good relationship for a long time. Interests are the key. Only when both sides cooperate and can generate enough interests, the relationship will be more solid and reliable. Of course, you don't have to worry about these things. I'll take care of it. You just have to be responsible for reminiscing with Auntie. No matter what, her motherly love for you is real. That's enough. Lu Yuan said in a low voice as he stroked Zhu Qing's long hair. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Qing tilted her head and thought for a while, then nodded. Indeed, as Lu Yuan said, no matter whether her mother had other plans or not, as long as her motherly love for her was real and harmless to Lu Yuan, that was enough. Why should she think so much? There was no need at all. Looking at Zhu Qing's appearance, Lu Yuan smiled slightly. He knew that she had already thought it through. In fact, just as he said, he didn't dislike Lin Xie's actions. She might have some ideas, but her concern for Zhu Qing couldn't be faked. This was also the reason why Lu Yuan was willing to stay. Otherwise, Lu Yuan was prepared to break off the engagement, get married, and then directly leave after dealing with the Star Luo royal family. As for what would happen to the Zhu family, he didn't care at all. Chapter 768. After all, Lu Yuan had no intention of joining forces with the Zhu family from the very beginning. Although the Zhu family was one of the three great families in the Star Luo Empire, they didn't have any truly powerful individuals. In fact, Lu Yuan didn't think much of them. But now, since the Zhu family had already agreed to cancel the engagement, and Lin Xie was also sincere towards Zhu Qing, truly doting on this daughter of hers, then it wasn't necessarily impossible to ally with the Zhu family. There weren't many powerful individuals in the Zhu family, and even Zhu Junlin was only a rank 85 Soul Douluo. Even Lu Yuan could easily beat him up, not to mention others. However, the Netherworld family was one of the three great families in the Xianra Empire. They still had some political and military power. Normally, the Zhu family wouldn't be able to help Lu Yuan. However, when the war started and he attacked the Xianra Empire, the Zhu family would be a very good spy. With their help, conquering the Xianra Empire would be a lot easier. As for the marriage alliance between the Zhu family and the Star Luo Empire, they wouldn't be spies. However, compared to this so-called marriage alliance, it was obvious that the Zhu family's own interests were much more important. When Lu Yuan attacked the Xianra Empire, the Heaven Do Empire would have been conquered. Lu Yuan's identity would have been exposed. With the Heaven Do Empire, the Martial Soul Palace, and the Dragon King Palace, it was only a matter of time before they wiped out the Xianra Empire. Under such circumstances, wouldn't the Zhu family, who were related to Lu Yuan by marriage, find another way out and accompany the Xianra Empire to their deaths? That was impossible. With Zhu Junlin's weak personality and Lin Xie's intelligence, they would contact Lu Yuan immediately. This would ensure that they would be able to maintain their lofty status after the Xianra Empire was destroyed. This was the rule of survival for these elite families. Their own interests were always the top priority. Therefore, Lu Yuan was never worried about these problems. As he gently stroked Zhu Zhuqing's soft hair, Lu Yuan's eyes flashed. Dong dong dong. At about noon, there was a knock on the door, waking up Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing, who were hugging each other and enjoying the peaceful time. Someone is knocking on the door. Looking at Lu Yuan, Zhu Zhuqing said softly. It should be Auntie, Lu Yuan said with a smile. At this time, other than Lin Xie, there shouldn't be anyone else. After all, Zhu Junlin probably still didn't dare to meet him face to face, even if he already knew that Lu Yuan was just scaring him in the morning. Then I'll go open the door. Hearing Lu Yuan say that Lin Xie had come, Zhu Zhuqing's eyes flashed with a hint of surprise and she quickly said, Go ahead, Lu Yuan said gently before letting go of Zhu Zhuqing. Zhu Zhuqing quickly ran to the door and opened it. Mother! Seeing Lin Xie, Zhu Zhuqing called out affectionately. Zhuqing, Lin Xie called out. Her gaze shifted behind Zhu Zhuqing, where Lu Yuan was slowly walking over. Auntie! Lu Yuan greeted. Hall Master Lu, Lin Xie called out. Auntie must have something to say. Zhuqing, why don't you invite Auntie in? Lu Yuan said indifferently. Oh right. Mother, come in if you have something to say, Zhu Zhuqing said with a smile. All right, then I'll have to trouble you. Lin Xie smiled and walked into the room. Inside the room, Lu Yuan and the other two sat around a round table with some tea on it. After the three of them sat down, Zhu Zhuqing took the initiative to pour a cup of tea for the two of them. Only then did she stop and look at Lin Xie with her beautiful eyes. Auntie, if you have something to say, just say it. You don't have to be polite with us, Lu Yuan said with a smile. Hall Master Lu, there is indeed something I want to discuss with you, Lin Xie said. Don't call me Hall Master Lu. Just call me Obuchi. After all, you're Zhuqing's mother and my elder. There's no need to be so formal. As for the matter, just say it. I'm listening, Lu Yuan said. That's right. Mother, just call him Obuchi. You don't have to call him Hall Master Lu. He's actually quite easy to get along with, Zhu Zhuqing added. All right then. Lin Xie smiled at the two of them and said, Zhuqing, Obuchi, Junlin and I have discussed it. We want to hold the marriage ceremony 3 days from now. If we do it tomorrow, it will be a little too rushed. If we have 3 days to prepare, we can hold it even grander and livelier. What do you think? Zhu Zhuqing blinked her eyes and looked at Lu Yuan with a sliver of anticipation in her eyes. How could Lu Yuan not know what Zhu Zhuqing was thinking when he saw the anticipation in her eyes? However, it made sense. Which girl wouldn't want to hold something as grand as a marriage ceremony? No matter how considerate and sensible Zhu Zhuqing was, she was still a girl in the end. All right, we'll do as Andy says. I have no objections, Lu Yuan gently smiled. That's good, Lin Xie smiled and said gently. Auntie, is there anything else apart from the marriage ceremony? Lu Yuan continued to ask Lin Xie. There really is something else. It's about Zhuyun. Zhuyun? Lu Yuan could not help but frown when he heard her name. Lu Yuan did not have a good impression of this woman who had tried to assassinate Zhu Zhuqing multiple times. If it were not for Zhu Zhuqing's pleading, he would have crippled her long ago. Would she still be alive? What does she want? Lu Yuan asked indifferently. His tone was not very pleasant. Lin Xie sighed when she heard Lu Yuan's words and said, I know that the two of you do not like Zhuyun because she has persecuted Zhuqing many times. However, Zhuyun is also a person with a hard life. She had no choice. You know the rules of the Star Luo imperial family and the Netherworld family. Zhuyun did that for the sake of survival. Furthermore, now that Davis has been crippled, Zhuyun no longer has the chance to be the crown princess. Zhuqing is also with you. In fact, there is no conflict of interest between Zhuyun and Zhuqing. She can no longer threaten the two of you. So, can the two of you be magnanimous and let Zhuyun off? There was a hint of pleading in Lin Xie's tone. Her concern for Zhu Zhuyun could not be fake. Lin Xie truly loved her daughter. Not only did she love Zhu Zhuqing, but she also loved Zhu Zhuyun. Zhu Zhuqing's heart immediately softened when she saw Lin Xie's expression. She was a kind person to begin with. Furthermore, the person who was pleading was her mother, her dearest mother. Therefore, Zhu Zhuqing could not refuse such a request. Chapter 769. Obuchi. Zhu Zhuqing looked at Lu Yuan with a hint of pleading in her eyes. You're so soft-hearted. Looking at Zhu Zhuqing, how could Lu Yuan not know what she wanted to say? He sighed softly and said helplessly, No matter what, she's still my sister. Since she's no longer a threat to us, why should we make things difficult for her? Zhu Zhuqing said softly, You're so soft-hearted. Sooner or later, you'll suffer a great loss. Lu Yuan shook his head and said, Don't I still have you? You'll protect me, won't you? Zhu Zhuqing said with a smile. Of course. Lu Yuan said firmly. Then you agree? Zhu Zhuqing said with some surprise. Since you've said it like this, how can I not agree? Lu Yuan said as he spread his hands. I knew you were the best. Hearing Lu Yuan's words, Zhu Zhuqing's face immediately lit up with joy, and her face was full of smiles. Mother, we agree to what you said. We won't make trouble for sister. To be honest, you don't have to tell us about this. You know my personality. I won't do anything to sister. As for Obuchi, he looks overbearing, but he's not the kind of person who haggles over minor matters. Since he spared sister when he crippled Davis, then as long as sister doesn't jump in front of him to court death, he won't care about sister. He's a proud person. He won't lower himself to deal with a woman. Looking at Lin Xie, Zhu Zhuqing said sincerely. Hearing this, Lu Yuan was speechless. This Zhuqing is really straightforward. She just said everything. Can't you hide something a little? Can't you let your mother appreciate your kindness? Wouldn't it be better to let her think that you let Zhu Zhuyun off just now because of her and your sisterly relationship? Now that you've said that you've already planned to let Zhu Zhuyun go, will Lin Xie still be grateful to you? Sigh, the originally intelligent Zhu Zhuqing really couldn't hide anything when she met Lin Xie. He was just like a child, without any of his usual shrewdness and wisdom. However, thinking that Lin Xie was Zhu Zhuqing's mother, Lu Yuan couldn't help but understand. He thought this way because he treated Lin Xie as an outsider. If it were the fellows, he would still care about the fellows remembering him, okay? Of course not. After all, he was willing to do things for the fellows without asking for anything in return. For example, he had given the chaotic element immortal herb to the fellows. Could it be that he wanted the fellows to repay him? Actually, that wasn't the case. He was just doing his filial piety as a son. Zhu Zhuqing was doing the same for Lin Xie. With this thought, Lu Yuan felt relieved. Forget it. As long as Zhu Zhuqing was happy, it was fine. Why was he thinking so much? Could it be that he had been scheming so much that he had to consider the pros and cons of every situation? Was he trying to see if he could get any benefits out of it? Lu Yuan couldn't help but reflect on himself. It seemed that he had to change his way of thinking. If he only thought about how to get the most benefits, his life would definitely be boring and dry. Only a life with true feelings would be more colorful. Lu Yuan was reflecting on himself. On the other side, Lin Xie heard Zhu Zhuqing's words and couldn't help but smile. Sure enough, no matter how many things she had experienced, Zhu Qing was still as innocent and adorable as before in front of her. Zhu Yun, on the other hand, was far inferior to Zhu Qing. Her heart had long been tainted by other things. She was no longer as pure and flawless as Zhu Qing. Looking at Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing, Lin Xie smiled and said, "Obuchi Zhu Qing, thank you for being magnanimous and willing to let Zhu Yun go. I thank you here. As for what Zhu Yun has done to Zhu Qing since she was young, I will apologize to Zhu Qing on her behalf. When I have the chance, I will personally bring Zhu Yun to apologize to Zhu Qing." Bring Zhu Yun to apologize? Hearing this, Lu Yuan couldn't help but be shocked out of his thoughts. He looked at Lin Xie with a trace of doubt in his eyes. "Auntie, do you think Zhu Yun will be willing to apologize?" "Don't worry, Obuchi. Leave this to me. I will convince Zhu Yun. Since Zhu Qing is magnanimous, as her mother, I have to do something. I really want to see the two of them get along well," Lin Xie said. "It's naturally best if they get along well. However, Auntie, please take it easy. Don't force Zhu Yun to apologize. Things might go against your wishes and make her hate Zhu Qing even more. If she can't hold it in and does something she shouldn't do, don't blame me for not giving you face." Lu Yuan said indifferently. "Auntie knows. Don't worry. Alright, it's getting late. I should be leaving. Someone will bring you lunch in a while. I won't stay here and disturb your meal." Lin Xie smiled and stood up. "Alright, take care." Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing stood up at the same time and watched Lin Xie slowly walk out of the room. "Zhu Qing, you seem to be very happy?" Lu Yuan asked softly as he retracted his gaze and looked at the smile on Zhu Zhuqing's face. "Mother said that she would bring my sister here to apologize to me and for us sisters to get along well." "Of course I'm happy," Zhu Zhuqing said. "You really believe that Auntie can do it?" Lu Yuan's eyes were filled with faint doubt. "Of course I believe her. Ever since I was young, as long as it's something Mother says, she will do it. This time will definitely be the same," Zhu Zhuqing said confidently. "I hope so," Lu Yuan sighed softly when he heard that. The next day, in the morning, inside Zhu Zhuqing's room. "Yu Qing, I'm sorry. Ever since you were young, Big Sister has tried to assassinate you many times. It's Big Sister's fault. Big Sister apologizes to you." In front of Lu Yuan and Zhu Zhuqing, a young girl apologized with a face full of sincerity. This young girl's figure was also extremely hot. Her face was somewhat similar to Zhu Zhuqing's. She was Zhu Zhuqing's sister, Zhu Zhuyun. She really came to apologize? Lu Yuan looked at this scene quietly and did not say a word. In less than a day, Lin Xie had convinced Zhu Zhuyun to apologize. No matter how he thought about it, it was somewhat amazing. This made Lu Yuan doubt the authenticity of this matter. Was Zhu Zhuyun really as sincere as she appeared on the surface, and did not have a trace of resentment in her heart? Or did Lin Xie really convince her? If it was the latter, then this Lincia really had some ability. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.